is the Big O Show. This 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 is the Big O Show.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines. If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
Why is it that you get locked out in the worst moments of your life?
Where are my car keys? Man, I can't find my house keys.
In those frustrating moments, you need a locksmith you can count on. A. Lenny Locksmiths in South Florida, from Miami to Port St. Lucie. In Central Florida, A. Lenny locks it down in Orlando and Tampa Bay. Lockouts or lock changes for home or business, car key replacements, and programming all model cars. 24-hour service. Call them at 855-869-5625. Go to the website at alennylocksmith.com.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
For over 16 years, EJDConstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDConstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDConstruction.com.
Welcome to Red Light Therapy, a revolutionary technology perfected by NASA to aid in muscle strengthening and recovery. Red and infrared light has the capacity to penetrate deep into the cell's mitochondria, potentially leading to increased energy, faster recovery, and the optimal performance your body demands. Train, fight, recover.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
All righty. Good morning, boys and girls. Not a great morning because, of course, we're coming off a Dolphins loss. Although I got to say, a game where I'm really not that disappointed, actually. Disappointed about the loss. Kind of feel good about the team. And we kind of talked a little bit about that yesterday as Dolphins pretty much beat themselves. And with all the hype about the San Francisco defense and going on the road and how this stretch is going to test them. And I know that there's going to be a whole bunch of overreaction from people and the non-believers of Tua or the haters or whatever, they're enjoying this and all that. They don't have enough material, but it's like a little something for them, you know. But in the end, as I told you yesterday, and nothing has changed. Yesterday had nothing to do with Bosa or the defense. I love how they talk about the sacks, and you know, two of those sacks, where one came when the game was already over, and the other one, well, you decided to block them with two running backs, which I don't know why they would do something like that, but whatever. To me, it's kind of funny how everything's worked out. The Dolphin defense did enough to win in that game. The Dolphin special teams did enough to win in that game. It was just Tua in the passing offense didn't do enough to win in that game. And for the first time this year, this was a game where Tua didn't show up, man, and he wasn't sharp. And there was a crap ton of yards left on the field. And for me, this makes me feel really good because everything else was there to win. Hell, you were still in the game with Tua playing like crap down the stretch. It was still a 23-17 game. I just look at it and say, you know, you get the normal Tua in there and you win the game. And that's all you needed. You needed normal Tua yesterday. And yesterday was, you know, the Tua that you never see pretty much. You haven't seen at all this year. because that's not who he is, where he's constantly missing people. And I'm not buying the ankle injury. He was off from the get-go. I know the one first pass, obviously, but after that, he was off. He was off, and to me, it was just one of those things where you just come in and you're not sharp. And it doesn't matter what kind of job you're in, what kind of career. That's kind of the way it is. So for me, I actually put it this way. Okay, I feel encouraged, right? You have the negative people out there. Oh, this, that. Oh, now we're going to see what they're all about. Vegas has the Dolphins favored by 2.5. Vegas saw the same thing I did. Miami could have won that game easily. Tua just missed a whole bunch of wide open receivers. It wasn't that Bosa was draped all over him and he had to hurry up the pass. It wasn't that any of their corners had this incredible coverage, because their corners aren't that good. And that's why McDaniel knew he could pass against them. Who the hell knew that Tua was going to choose that day to be off? I mean, listen, all those negative. Oh, well, now they're going to go play the Chargers. And you don't fear the Chargers, dude. I don't fear Justin Herbert. He's not a winner. Did he win again yesterday? No, he didn't. Does he win more than Tua? No, he doesn't. Does he outplay Tua? No, he doesn't. So what's the big deal? I'm not worried about it. And guess what? The Vegas isn't worried about it. Opening line, Dolphins favored by 2.5 points. Over and unders 52.5. The Chargers are plus 125 on the money line. Miami is minus 145 on the money line. They saw the same thing I did. Now, as I told you last night, I tweeted it out. Don't listen to the idiots. There's going to be a lot of people out there that don't know what the hell they're talking about. You have your Tua haters that are just lined up to have some fun with this. Dolphins will be fine. Yes, last night made me feel so much better about the rest of these games. They can beat Buffalo. Yeah, I said it. They can go to Buffalo and beat Buffalo. They're going to beat the Chargers this week. Tua has no choice now. You had a game in your hands that you could have won, and you threw it away. Literally, you threw it away. He can't do that this week. He has no choice now. Now he has to come back, and he has to come back with a vengeance. And Miami has to win this week. And that's it. You got to redeem yourself this week. I expect you to win this week. Vegas expects you to win this week. I expect you to hit the open receivers like you have all season long. I don't expect you to play like you played yesterday ever again for the rest of the season. You got your mulligan. You played your bad game. We all have our bad days. That's your bad day. Chalk it up, move on, correct the issues. And, it's that one to Tyreek. You could tell that Tyreek was like, oh, man, my guy doesn't have it today. You could tell. But I kind of came out of that game encouraged for the rest of the stretch. Disappointed that they lost. Disappointed that Tua didn't play well at all. And I'm not laying it on anybody else. The offensive line. Stop with the running game stuff. They were never going to run on these guys. It was never going to make a difference in this game. Ever. Okay? So please stop mentioning the running game to me. That's lazy complaining just to complain. Because the reality, you got to sit down and you can look at me seriously in the eye and tell me, oh, if we run the ball, we win that game. No, you don't. Because you weren't going to run the ball. And just because maybe you had a run or two or three that might have been good, anybody pops a couple of runs. Against that defense, you weren't going to be pushing them around. You needed a pass, and they were all there. Every play was there for you. Tua just didn't hit them. There's no other way of phrasing it. That's it. That's the only way to look at it. By the way, redrecover.com, a proud sponsor of our program. And, I know a lot of players are waking up this morning with some pain. How about you? You're waking up this morning with some pain. Maybe you've been dealing with an old injury. Maybe you've been dealing with an old surgery. Or how about this? You went to your walk this morning, your run, your jog, your tennis, your golf, whatever it is you do for some exercise, and now you got some soreness. RedRecover.com can help you in all of these areas, folks. Whether you're just a workout warrior, you can optimize your workouts before and after with some of these wraps that are just absolutely amazing. Red light therapy has been around for a while, and they have harnessed it in a way to help you just get through your day, feel better, repair some of the damage that might be there, and discomfort too on top of all of that. Back, neck, shoulders, elbows, knees, ankles, you name it. We've got the wraps for dogs for their hips. It's great for kids. It's all natural. It's red light therapy. There's no drugs involved. It's red lights. You know what I'm saying? It's perfect to help you optimize your workouts before and after. Even if you have a scar from an operation, you want that scar to disappear, red light therapy can help those scars disappear. It's helping me grow my hair back a little bit here in the background. If you're recently now, if your hair has been dead for 10 years, there's probably no way of saving it. But if you're recently in the process of losing your hair, you might be able to save it with red light therapy. We got the hats for it. Go to redrecover.com. Check out the video blogs. Check out the regular blogs. Find out more right there on the website. Use our code BIG-O. The wraps are incredibly affordable. Okay, it's a great present for somebody that you love. And again, you'll get 10% off by using our code BIG-O. Go to redrecover.com. Use our code BIG-O and get some pain relief right away, folks. Big O, get some Red Recover to Byron Jones. I think he's going to come back, man. I'm telling you, I still believe he's going to come back here towards the end and help him on the back end in the playoff run, because he needs to play for the offseason. He just needs to play. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show on Cash App or Venmo. And Ho Yoon, thank you, sir. As always, appreciate you, my friend, chiming in on a beautiful Monday. And he says a happy Monday on Venmo. Thank you, sir. As always, very kind. What else do we have going on in the world of sports? By the way, Saints and Bucks tonight, 8:15. And the Miami Heat are also in action tonight at 8 o'clock in Memphis. We will have Ira Winderman with us at the bottom of the hour. We'll talk about the game tonight, and we'll talk about the win on Friday, man. That was a really nice win by the Miami Heat. Hell of a return by Jimmy Butler. Big O Perdomo Army bought some this weekend. Going to wait to smoke them during and after our win against Herbut. Also, if Wilkins doesn't make the Pro Bowl this year, we riot. Oh, yeah. I'm with you there. Chris Greer has got to be going crazy right now, right? I mean, he's watching Christian Wilkins just kick some ass right now. I was tweeting about that yesterday while we're watching the show. While we're watching the game, and Christian Wilkins is, all over the place. You name it. That guy was making tackles for losses, hitting people all over the place. It was cool. It was cool to watch. I tweeted out yesterday while he was, just kicking everybody's ass. I tweeted out this right here. I said, Chris Greer watching Christian Wilkins making plays. Right there. Just hand them the money, bro. Hand them the money. Bags and bags of money for Christian Wilkins. That's what's going to end up happening. Bags and bags of money. That guy, and well-deserved big-ass contract for him. Well-deserved contract for him. All right, 855-912-1056. If you want to get in on the Welt and Rayom text line, that's 855-912-1056. By the way, I don't think there's much time left, another day or two maybe. If you do want to try to win the one, it's a little over $100 prize pack from Nature B. Go to their Instagram page at NatureBNZ, follow them, and then tweet, post also, tag your friend in that post, and you and your friend will be entered into that drawing. One of you may end up winning the prize pack. And not only that, use the hashtag Big O Radio Show inside that post, and you're in. And so, who knows? Good luck to you. We talk about Nature B all the time. Right now, you can get 2 months, get the third month for free and free shipping for only $66. Okay? Pennies a day. There it is right there. There's the prize pack that they're giving away. But if you want to order Nature B and power that immune system like I do every single day, like I've done for 20 years, like a lot of you that have been following the show, go to natureb.com, use our code Big O. You'll get free shipping and the third month for free. So you buy the first 2 months, the third month is free and free shipping. Use the code Big O, and you will love it. I see they've got the soaps in there, the lip balm. Wait till you try that soap. That soap is awesome. Love the soap. Love the soap. My wife loves the wrinkle cream. So any of you ladies out there are into that wrinkle cream stuff, she swears by it. I can't swear by it because I don't use it, but she swears by it because she uses it. So there you go. Maybe get rid of a little bit of those crow's feet, as they say, right? Tua was like a basketball player whose shot wasn't there. MJ had games like this. Find other ways to win on Gesicki's pass, run. That's how you find other ways when your shot isn't falling. But yesterday, there's no other way of winning. If you're not hitting the open receiver, you can't win, dude. Now, there is no comparison, Rick, because you can't just, okay, well, we got Derrick Henry and a monster offensive line. Let's pound them. Can't do that. Unfortunately, that's just the reality. So I disagree with you there. There was no option. Once Tua was not hitting, that's what your offense is. You're not carried by your defense. Your defense is a complementary piece to your offense. And yesterday they did more than enough to win if your offense was productive. And it wasn't. And you're not going to be bailed out by your running game. So yesterday, once Tua wasn't hitting guys, it was over, man. It was over. You weren't going to win that game. Michelle is asking, do you think Tua, the way he was playing, he was dealing with the ankle injury, but I know he had a bad day last night. The Miami Dolphins will bounce back when we play the Chargers. Yes. Yes, but I don't think it had anything to do with the ankle. I think he was just off, man. Just a bad day for him. Can't believe a rookie third-string QB beat our defense. Why can't you believe it? Why? Because he's a third stringer? I always love that. We talked about this yesterday. They're all professional football players. Backups come out and win all the time. A lot of times the backup has the advantage early on because you don't know him. And give Brock Purdy credit, dude. That guy had a good career in college. He was a calm, cool customer yesterday. He made plays. Guys come off the bench and win games all the time. It's happened forever in the NFL. I'm sorry, I must have missed it. What happened? You were surprised that the third-string quarterback beat a third-string corner? Is that what you're freaked out about? Just saying. If you want to do the math, just happens. What are you going to do, man? It's funny. Really, they're all professional football players. Some are good and some are bad. Some are found early in a draft. Some are found late in a draft. Now, if it's your third string quarterback, then all of a sudden he's a gold mine. Oh, he's fantastic. And look, didn't you guys think, didn't you guys want Skyler over Tua? Where are all those guys now? You sound pretty fucking stupid, don't you? Right? You got all excited about Skyler. Some of you had him over Tua. Convenience. Right? Some of you thought Skyler was better than Tua. And look, Skyler has peed in his pants practically every time he's come out there. Hasn't really done the job. Never looked like Brock Purdy. But yet you guys, some of you wanted him over Tua. So I'm not surprised that some of you think, oh, wow, a third stringer beat us. Happens all the time. Guys come off the bench, they surprise, they play well, whatever. Look, Mike White played well last week. This week he had 2 interceptions. First one early on, gave up points. I think it was a field goal. Then threw another one late. No touchdowns. Didn't play as well as he did the week before. Happens. But you come off the bench and you can surprise people. And Brock Purdy may not play like this for the rest of the year. But he had that one game. I've been telling you on this show for 20 years. Any pro in football can have a good day, a good week, a good month, even a good year. Okay? Derek, what was his name? Derek, damn it, now I'm forgetting the guy's name from Cleveland. But anyway, Derek, forgot his last name. Quarterback had this amazing year. I don't know, it was like 27 touchdowns, 10 interceptions or something like that. And they gave him a new contract. Never played like that again. And the dude did it for a whole year. This happens all the time. Some of you, I can't believe we lost to a third string quarterback. You ever watch football? Do you ever pay attention that unknown players come off the bench and, they shine in the Super Bowl named Timmy Smith? You ever watch that? You ever watch Matt Flynn just play a couple of games and earn a big contract? By the way, some Dolphin fans wanted Matt Flynn back in the day. I'm sure out of the 320, there's at least 1 or 2 of you back in the day that called me or sent me a fax and told me, hey, we should sign Matt Flynn. But that's all right. I know none of you will admit that. Come on, man. What's wrong with you? Derek Anderson, thank you very much. What's wrong with some of you out there? Oh, I can't believe we lost to a third string. It's an NFL player. So you can't believe that a 6th-rounder like Tom Brady became a Hall of Famer? Why? Because, you can't believe a 5th-rounder like Zach Thomas became an absolute stud? Rod Smith for the Broncos, what was he, like a 12th-rounder or something like that? Well, you can't believe it or something? Is that what it is? You can't believe that a player would be drafted late and would play well. You can't believe that an undrafted player like Zach Sealer would turn into a really good football player. By the way, I felt terrible for Sealer because he didn't have his base balanced. He was off balance when he grabbed the quarterback, and he couldn't hang. He really had no leverage. And so that's why the quarterback was able to turn the corner and get in on him yesterday. I felt so bad for him because he just didn't have leverage at that moment. And that's why he ended up losing out on that tackle. And nobody came to help him. But this whole thing about, I can't believe we lost a third-string quarterback. I guess I never pay attention to football. Sometimes Priest Holmes comes out of nowhere. And it's like, who the hell is this Priest Holmes guy? And he becomes one of the best running backs in the NFL. Who knows? Just happens sometimes, dude. And especially at quarterback, when you haven't played and nobody knows you, it's the next week or two will be a lot easier to prepare for Brock Purdy. And you'll see there's a good chance, unless Brock Purdy is something special, but there's a good chance that Brock Purdy never plays like he played yesterday. And it's just luck of the draw, dude. That's just the way it is. But if you've watched football over the years, this happens all the time. There are guys that come out of nowhere and what? You're losing to a guy named Taylor Heinicke? I'm like, wow, what? Oh, yeah, he came from the XFL. Taylor Heinicke. I really wonder sometimes about some of you out there. Do you really watch the games? That's what I really wonder about some people out there. And by the way, I steal that line from the great Ed Kaplan, because that's what Ed would say, and I stole it from him decades ago, because he says people don't watch the games, and he is 1,000% right. There's a lot of you that you're watching, but you're really not paying attention. And one more time, your defense is not special. Okay, Dolphin fans, let's repeat after me. The Dolphin defense is not special in any way, shape, and form. Say it with me, because you seem to keep forgetting. I don't know what it is. Or you old farts, Dolphins. What do you think this is? The Killer Bees? You think this is the no-name defense? What do you think this is? You think this is Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas and Pat Surtain and Sam Madison and Tim Bowens? Is that what you're thinking? Because no. I'm not exactly sure what you guys think you have on defense. You put it on some pedestal. Oh, I can't believe our defense. Defense is not that good, and it hasn't been for a while. It's a bend but don't break type defense. And by the way, they bent and they didn't break enough for you to lose. Tua lost the game yesterday. That's it. It's pretty simple. You don't have to knock yourself out and worry about how good Purdy played and what this guy didn't do and what that guy didn't do. Uno didn't get it done. That's it. The kid threw for 300 yards in a losing cause, left probably 200 more yards on the field because he didn't hit open receivers, he didn't keep drives alive, and he didn't put more points on the board. That's it. It had nothing to do with Bosa, had nothing to do with the defense, had nothing to do with being on the road, had nothing to do with the defense for the Dolphins, had nothing to do with the offensive running game for the Miami Dolphins, had nothing to do with Mike McDaniel. The plays were scripted beautifully. The receivers ran the routes. They were open. Tua did not hit open receivers like he normally does. That's it. It was an aberration. It was an off-game performance for him. It was just a guy that wasn't on. Simple. And I'm not going with the ankle injury. I'm not going with any of that shit. Okay? I've watched him play better with broken ribs and a broken finger. You got me? I've watched him play better with bigger injuries, more accurate with bigger injuries. Kid wasn't accurate yesterday, and it effed up the entire game. Pretty simple. That's it. You don't have to look into it anymore. It had nothing to do with the referees, with a questionable call or two. No, it had to do with the quarterback not being sharp whatsoever. And that's it. You don't have to break your head and try to figure anything out here. Super simple what happened yesterday. It's not that difficult to figure it out. And Tua's just got to get his shit together, get back on track, play like he's been playing all year long, and they win next week or this coming week now, against San Diego on Sunday night. Los Angeles on Sunday night. I just can't get used to that shit. But anyway, stop overreacting. Pretty simple. Guys have bad days. He had a shit day yesterday, and it cost them a win. They easily would have won that game if Tua hits his receivers. It's a completely different game. There are no turnovers. There are more points. There's more time of possession. There's more touchdowns on the field, and everybody would have been happy. Didn't happen. It is what it is. All right. Tua needs to get back on track. Question is, did the Heat get back on track? Friday night was a beautiful performance by none other than Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat against the elite of the East, the Boston Celtics. We ask Ira Winderman that and more in our Acura Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report.
Heat fans, time for the best insight of your favorite team with insider Ira Winderman, exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. It's the Acura of Pembroke Pines Miami Heat and NBA report. Here's Ira Winderman.
Good morning, Ira. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, Larjo. Last game for a road trip, Memphis tonight. Then they get home for 3. Detroit, the Clippers, who were shorthanded, and the Spurs. So I think what you said in the crosstalk leading in, there is a chance to make hay. There is a chance to get to the north side of 500 and to be in a better place. It's a tough game tonight. It's the start of a back-to-back. I'm more curious than anything, Big O. Do they play it balls to the wall and try to get both? Or do they say, you know what, our starting point guard's 36, our starting small forward's 33. Let's get one of the two on this back-to-back.
But Gabe's back. Gabe's back. You can now play a little more Gabe on the back end of that back-to-back.
And I agree. So do you say to yourself, let's fight the fight with the Grizzlies and we'll take care of Detroit? Or do you say, let's get the sure thing and rest Jimmy and Kyle and get the sure thing at home? I think that'll be interesting tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right, because even when you look at Friday night, let's be honest now, it was all starters. The bench was not really a factor in that game. So really 5 guys carried that team. And you might be right there, because until the bench is actually also doing their job on a back-to-back, you're going to need a powerful rotation. To ask 5 guys to carry you for 2 nights in a row, I think you're on to something there. That might be something that puts some undue wear and tear on your team for the long term.
Yeah, you got to be again. Kyle Lowry, the minutes. Yeah. Kyle's minutes have been huge, and Jimmy played big minutes in Boston. I mean, before that game supposed to, we're not going to play him 40 minutes tonight, so he played him 36 because it went to overtime, which he didn't know. You have to be careful on that, and there's a bunch of factors here. Another factor is, after their practice on Friday, the Heat said they're going to make Victor Oladipo available for an interview. Typically in the NBA, you let us talk to a player when he's first hurt, what happened, and you let us talk to him when he's about to come back. So I find that curious that they had Victor available to us before the game in Boston. Victor was quite optimistic. I think, and again, I'm always wrong on this, Big O, but I think this could be Victor Oladipo week, and then your questions about the bench sort of get clarified a little. Is he going to come back as a contributor, where he could be the backup 1 and the backup 2? Or is he going to come back a guy who hobbles so much that you realize, hey, another one of those seasons for Victor Oladipo. I am very curious to see what happens. And again, because of the schedule, let's look at the schedule. After tonight in Memphis, tough game. Detroit at home. Clippers, who've been without Kawhi and Paul George. Then the Spurs. Then you go off to Indiana. I mean, God bless Indiana, but still a game you should get. You go to Oklahoma City. You go to Houston. You play San Antonio, Mexico City. All of a sudden, the schedule's turning for you right there. So I think this might be the most important 2 weeks of the Heat season that are coming up right now.
Yeah, no, I listen. Well, I don't know about most important. The thing that I was going to follow up on the Depot thing, even when he comes back, it's going to be limited minutes anyway. So it's one of those things that they're going to work him back to try to get him to a point where they can give him reasonable minutes that then you can really measure who he is. So I don't even think we'll get a feel for Depot when he does come back early on.
I'm not so sure that we're not past the point of baby steps. I don't know, Big O, how much you can keep babying this whole thing.
Lack of injuries. You have no choice with the dude so fragile. That's the problem. You're right. I understand you're thinking like, we don't have any more time. We've wasted more than enough time trying to rehab you and all that stuff. And here you go. But the problem is when you're that fragile, you can't treat them that way. You have to treat them with handle with care, whatever fragile glass inside or whatever they put in the package.
Yeah, and I agree that, but you know what? There are guys like Max Strus who's playing well. There are a guy like Gabe Vincent who pushed his way to get back. There are enough other guys that you're going to have to make a decision. I've always tried to be careful, and our accurate Pembroke Pines reports never to overstate Victor Oladipo. That was the story that I wrote about in today's paper, how there is the temptation and the tease of Victor Oladipo, the temptation to make him out into more than he is, and the tease from Victor Oladipo that he will be an all-star again. I think you have to dial that all back right now. You might have to say to yourself, to your point, Big O, I'll point this direction, to your point is, you might have to decide on a given day, is it a Gabe day or is it a Vic day? And maybe that's what it is. So instead of getting Victor Oladipo back, what you're doing is you're getting a choice between Gabe Vincent and Victor Oladipo. And he's sort of like half a man, I guess, to an extent. And that's what you count on going forward.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And listen, to me, one of the things I liked about also Friday night, Bam stayed aggressive offensively. He got, 19 shots up, I believe, on Friday night. And I like that, too, that he was still being kind of the Bam we saw before Butler. And listen, one of the things that I have grown to admire about Jimmy, because I was really concerned when he took the money here. Was he coming here because he wanted his own team and he wanted to be the man every night and all that? And he is the man every night, but he's the ultimate man every night because he's a true leader every night. And he is more than happy to get his other guys involved and motivate the young kids to be great and all of that. So Bam can grow and become that aggressive Bam under Jimmy because Jimmy will allow him to be that guy. He doesn't have that ego that I have to take every shot, every final shot, all that. So I hope that this is a sign of things to come. What I saw on Friday. Would I like to see more of a bench? Yes. Would I like to see Oladipo in there? Yes. I'd like to see other things help out these guys. Because like I told you, it was 5 guys that night. It wasn't really the bench.
It was actually 4 guys. Yeah.
Right.
And matter of fact, I wanted to run this by you. Obviously, we saw that Kyle and Tyler and Bam and Jimmy played great in that game.
Yeah.
And then afterward, I was surprised when Spo came back and talked about our big 4. One is that blasphemy because, let's face it, you talk about a big 3 of ultimate greatness of Wade, LeBron, and Bosh. God bless Kyle Lowry at 36. God bless Tyler Hero, who's growing up in front of our very eyes. But I'm not so sure I want to go out and promote the Heat's big 4. I think you have to earn that. I think that comes later in your career when you have a Garnett and you have a Pierce and you have a Ray Allen. I don't think you're big 4 right now. I was very surprised by that. Bam Adebayo addressed it yesterday at practice and said, hey, we're the 4 guys who were counted on, so we have to be the big 4. I'm not quite sure they're there yet. I think most big 3s
very Mike McDaniel-ish, wasn't it? It was very Mike McDaniel-ish what he just did. You know what I mean?
But again,
both of these coaches are cut from that kind of cloth.
They
that
stand by their men.
Yeah, they're going to stand by their guys. They're not going to hammer people in public, and in their own way, they're players' coaches. I'm sure they're busting balls behind the scenes like they have to, like any normal coach, but they handle publicly things the right way for their players, even in their downest moments. They're not gonna be there to pile on, which is the new wave coach, dude. I mean, you're never gonna see Spo call his team a shrinking violets. It's not gonna happen, bro.
Right.
It's not gonna happen.
And
for you youngins out there, okay, Riley called his team shrinking violets once, and this was 20 years ago, by the way.
When he needed to. Yeah.
Was it like 20 years ago?
It had to be, because Pat last coached in 2010. So yeah.
It was like it was the Mashburn years, right? Wasn't it the Mashburn years?
Yes, it was. He knew he needed more. That was the tougher times. The other point you made when you said Jimmy Butler's willing to work with everyone, the one point will get sort of things knocking against heads if he's not the closer. Jimmy Butler doesn't need the stats. What Jimmy Butler wanted is what he had at that end of the game in Boston. He wants to take the game's most important shots.
Sure.
So I almost wonder if we're going to ever get into a Scottie Pippen, Tony Kukoc situation where Spo sits on his pad and draws a player and goes, okay, and then we're going to shake Tyler free, or we're going to shake Bam free on the baseline. Because you know what will happen in that play, Big O? Jimmy will take the ball and do whatever the hell he wants anyway. So that's
I agree with you to a certain extent, but I think Jimmy knows that if it's a three you need, and you got to call the Tyler's number, somebody that's better than him, I think he'll understand that. I think where he takes over, like what you're saying, is if nobody else is showing balls up until that moment, if Tyler's shooting 8 of 32, no, we're not going to give Tyler. No, I'm not giving Tyler. I'm going to take the shot. That kind of shit. If nobody is stepping, but if everybody's playing like they were playing on Friday night, and people are feeling it, and other guys are a little better than he is at shooting, I think he would. Now, if it's driving to the hole, dude, I want the human vice grips. Always run to the hole. I want Jimmy every single time for that, because I know he's going to get to the hole and get fouled, and they're not going to take the ball away from him because he's got the vice grips.
I still think he takes the late three. Maybe if it's a Duncan or Strus who's on the floor and they set it up for a three-point shooter, he just has that irrational confidence at the end of games. And what he did at the end of the Celtics game was huge. And he changed the whole tenor of this trip. Instead of it being the trip we thought was going to be 0-4, then they won in Atlanta, then they have that victory on Friday. My gosh, if you come back 3-1 at 500 after that trip, a trip against Atlanta, 2 against Boston, 1 against Memphis, I think then you're on your way. I do agree. Typically, you are what your record says you are. I think this team is above and beyond what its record said it is right now.
Yeah, no, I think they're a little bit now. They got to get healthy. They got to get in a groove, and then they should be better than their record. I totally agree. Are they Boston? No, that's a whole different ball game right now. Boston is at a different level. By the way, Duncan Robinson. What's the plan for Duncan Robinson? I mean,
the plan is, because it's go time now, there can't be any showcasing. There can't be any sort of putting him out there to get numbers, because they're behind the 8 ball, like we mentioned with their record. So they have to give a little more and do a little bit more with the other guys in the rotation. He's just a contract number right now. He's open in case of emergency, maybe when Max Strus can't play, when someone else isn't available, when you just need threes and he gets hot a little bit. But you know what? It's interesting. And I even had a little bit debate with Barry Jackson when we were on the road together. And I said to him, I just don't see Haywood Highsmith cracking this rotation as long as there is Duncan in his contract. Boom. And I posted my story at sunsentinel.com today on that. Haywood Highsmith has moved ahead of Duncan Robinson.
Yeah.
And bless Eric Spoelstra for playing those who deserve the minutes. Haywood Highsmith is making $1.8 million at the minimum this season. Duncan Robinson is in his $90 million contract. Yeah, the Heat are in a tough spot. They painted themselves in a corner, but God bless this organization for this reason. You will never have a front office here who goes to their head coach and goes, we paid him, you will play. There is the autonomy of Eric Spoelstra. You coach whatever you think works best. If Pat has to take the hit, if Andy has to take the hit, so be it. And that's the difference. A lot of other places, they go, hey, buddy, For what we're paying that guy, you get his butt out there on the floor.
Yeah, but I mean, if Pat Riley's the guy above you and Haywood Highsmith can play defense and Duncan can't, how does Pat Riley have the balls to go down and say, hey, you need to play Duncan over Highsmith? Spo look at him and say, yeah, you would do the same thing? You would play Duncan over the other guy that can defend? No. I mean, I'll go back to his box score.
Sure.
He only scored 2 minutes, 2 points, but he had 5 rebounds, an assist, a steal, and a block. That's Haywood Highsmith.
Yes.
Okay. And so, all you got to do is be around the kid and then watch him play. And you can tell that there's a different way he's built.
A Keith Askins way about him, a contributor. Yes. And here's the difference. Yes. Complimentary. This goes back to what you and I were talking about a couple of seconds ago. If you have your big four or whatever you want to call them, everyone else compliments. You don't need someone else to be a star. If you have him and Jimmy and Kyle and Tyler, everyone else is a supporting cast. Haywood Highsmith, just like Keith Askins, just like James Posey, just like those kind of players the Heat have had over the years, are the perfect complementary players. Eric Spoelstra had a really good line after the game at Boston. He goes, there's almost a part of me that wishes he didn't score and get those 2 points, because I wanted to come up here and talk to you guys about how a great scoreless performance can be put together. That's what Haywood Highsmith did. That's what Gabe Vincent can do. That's why it's going to be interesting. Does Victor Oladipo come back as a guy who's willing to be a complimentary player? Or does he say, you know what? I signed this 2-year deal with a 1-year player option. I want to show him a damn all-star again, and I want to get mine this offseason. That's going to be worth watching as well.
Yeah, no, it is. But, I mean, at this point, I think, unfortunately, you lost that right. Now you have to work your way back again to try. You have to work your way back to not only being a player, but you have to work your way back to also proving that you are reliable. And that's the part. That's the worst part about Oladipo's return to Miami, is he has yet to prove he's reliable, that he'll be there every night for you. He fails to do that. His body.
He was close to that in the playoffs, Big O. He was close to that with his 15 appearances and defensive-minded play. But again, that was when Tyler Hero was out. Right. That's when Kyle Lowry was slowed. So we've yet to see this Victor Oladipo with this core when they're whole. It's just really interesting. It's like we know so little of this team, and we're already in December.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right about that. But it's just one of those things. He's got to prove that he can stay. 15 games isn't anything, just like Dion Waiters in his 29 or 30 games with the Dragon, that he played a beautiful, a style of basketball. But he could never match that again. He could never extend 29 games into 50, into 80. And Oladipo has got to do that. He's got to be able to convince Spo that he can look down his bench, and every time he looks down his bench, Oladipo is always going to be there.
And that's not your first 4 guys off the bench in some order will be Dedmon and Vincent and Strus and Highsmith. And then all of a sudden, I mean, I don't want to be the guy to ask the question, but what's it going to be like to go to Victor Oladipo and go, hey, so what's it like to compete for minutes as a 10th man? I ain't asking that, but that might be the reality. You might be spot on there, Big O.
All right. What do you think tonight?
I think with Memphis playing on the second night of a back-to-back, even after resting Steven Adams last night, I think the Heat are hungry. I think the Heat realize how important it is to make statement victories. So I think the Heat are going to go out there tonight and at least compete, knowing they have a favorable schedule coming home. Yes, underdogs, but you know what? Jimmy's rested. He had the full 2 weeks off, played in Boston, had Saturday and Sunday off, so I think he's in a good spot.
By the way, Vegas has got respect for the Heat. The game's picking. It's even.
Second night of a back-to-back, so that's why. Yeah.
So they actually think the Heat have a chance. So they're right there with you on that one. All right, what else are you working on the Sun Sentinel leading up to the game?
Well, we had the story today in Haywood Highsmith, as we spoke about how he's come out of nowhere. I wrote an interesting angle. He had a contract guarantee date last week, on December 1st. He got an additional $300,000. He was so caught up in being a rotation player, he didn't even know about it. So when I told him the next round's on him, he was like, huh? And he said, yeah, I probably should pay a little more attention. I like that. I like that instead of being focused on his money, he's focused on his contribution. So that story today is online, being tomorrow's Sun Sentinel. A little bit later, I'm going to talk about Nikola Jovic's brief debut in the G League last night. He shot terrible. It was like 2 of 13, but he filled the box score with assists and with rebounds. And Erik Spoelstra said he might do more of this. He's a future player. We just spoke about the rotation. No need to force him in right now. But you know what? The Heat are showing the commitment to him. So I'm going to recap what he, Drew Smith, and Jamal Cain did in their G League performance last night when they destroyed the Bucks' G League team. So that'll be online later in your Sun Sentinel tomorrow. And we'll discuss all of it on redrecover.com Inside the Paint, 9 a.m. right here on the Big O Show on Wednesday.
And all you have to do is be around Haywood Highsmith a couple times, and you'll notice that that kid is a pro's pro already at an incredibly young age. Yeah, man. Yeah. Follow him on Twitter at Ira Heatbeat. Catch his work there at the South Florida Sun Sentinel. Make sure you subscribe like I do. Ira, we will catch up on Wednesday for the Red Recovery.
Then back on Friday with another accurate Pembroke Pines report talking about the Heat winning streak. So I'll talk to you then. Thanks, Big O.
So. You got it. Thank you, Ira. There we go. We love it. Acura of Pembroke Pines, Miami Heat, and NBA report.
You've been listening to the Acura of Pembroke Pines, Miami Heat, and NBA report with Ira Winderman. When you're looking for award-winning service and great deals from the #1 volume Acura sales dealership in the Southeast United States, you go to Craig's Inn Acura of Pembroke Pines at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Okay. Sorry, had to turn on the AC. AC wasn't on. Oh, no interview for a little while. I don't need the headphones at the moment. All right. What do we have going on in the chat board? Let's see. And who was first in there? I see True. Well, maybe I went a little late into the chat board. Who got in first? Is it Steve? Is it True Fin Fan? Who got in first? Steve Chapman in there, baby. Yeah, and Brian Walters and GP Trap. Mike Honcho, I see there. Okay, yeah, because the one I have here on this chat board is already late. David Triana, thank you, sir, for the super chat. QBs have off games. Mahomes versus Buffalo, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Allen versus the Jets, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Herbert is kind of a but San Francisco touchdown interception. Burrow versus Pitt, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. It happens. Dolphins and Tua will bounce back and be fine. I agree, David. Thank you for the super chat as always. Appreciate you all out there. And remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. Don't forget to follow us on Rumble. Rumble is a new service. We want to start using it, but I found out something about Rumble yesterday, and we got to dig in a little bit more before we officially do everything on Rumble. Well, I can already tell you there's one thing I'm not doing on Rumble. Okay, in order to maximize your revenue on Rumble, you have to give them your content. Like, they will own your content. That's some communist ass shit. Okay, you're not owning my content, bro. No, because then you can't use it anywhere. They own it. Like, screw you. I'm not, Rumble, not all, some of us actually read the fine print, so we're not going to do stupid things like that. So I'm trying to see if there's 3 options. The absolutely free option with nothing tied to it. I'm not doing that. I'm not promoting their site just for the hell of it. If we're not gaining anything from it. And then there's another option. I got to see what we do, but we gotta figure it out. But follow us on Rumble for now. We're not broadcasting yet from Rumble, okay? Because I'm not giving up our stuff. Like, they want you to they own your content. They'll send it to YouTube, and then you'll get a portion of the revenue from YouTube. Okay, the large portion of it, but they're going to take a piece out of it from YouTube. That's not what I'm trying to do. We need to increase revenue, not somebody steal revenue from me or us, because Sean is in it with me. And on top of all of that, you're going to own our content? No, dude. No. So you got to be careful. Be careful. So I got to see what the hell is behind this whole Rumble thing. But, yeah. That part is That part's kind of fishy. So we got to check out. You got to do things the right way, you know. So, and they're so new, they don't even have enough advertising yet. So we'll see. See, I just found out about this over the weekend, and so we signed up for it. We got the followers now, which we thank you for getting us over 100 to see if we can do the live stuff. But I'm not going to do it just to, you know, not to be taken advantage of. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But thank you, David, for the super chat. Remember, you can also make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. Do they advertise on your behalf? They do some, but they don't have a lot. That's the thing. It's very minimal right now. And again, to maximize the most, they want to own your content. That's some communist ass bullshit, dude. You're not owning my content. It's like they own your content and then they send it to YouTube. You don't even get to post it on YouTube. They send it in. No, dude, you're not controlling my shit. No. I didn't break away from corporate to get tied to some other corporation that's going to own me. No. That's fine, dude. We could stand on our own without crappy ass QAM. We don't need QAM. We've got more followers than QAM on YouTube. We got more followers than them on Twitter. We got more power than QAM, period. So why am I, if I don't need QAM to survive, why am I going to need Rumble to survive? You know what I'm saying? And so that that part there, you're going to own my content? No, you can kiss my ass. Okay? You can kiss my ass. Own my content. The hell out of here. Big O, there's more information about the B-21 stealth bomber the U.S. military deployed than there is about Byron Jones' injury. We should be the Area 51 Dolphins. Yeah. And because of HIPAA, he gets to keep it quiet, and people, you know, it's hard to get people to talk about it too. When it comes with injuries, it's tough, man. It's tough. Yeah. But I think I read it right. He's doing business, and I think he's going to come back. I think here down the stretch, he'll be here any week now. I think he'll be right in the final week or two of the season. I think he shows up and he gets a couple of games into the playoffs, and then he gets to showcase his skills for the offseason. Unless, by the way, he keeps... No, I'm not leaving YouTube at all to Extreme. I'm never leaving YouTube at all. I'm trying to add another revenue stream. So anyway, what was I just saying now? On what was I just talking about? No, I just brain farted.
Byron Jones.
Oh yeah, he'll come back. I think he has to showcase his skills in order to get his contract in the offseason. If not, he won't get the kind of money he needs in the offseason. Or he wants, not needs, wants, because obviously he's stolen a crap ton of money this year. So yeah. Nico says, I really hope Jones comes back, but getting back into game shape after a year won't be easy. Well, I'm sure he's. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you guys, Baker Mayfield's about to get waived. Interesting. He'll come back. He'll get himself right, and I'm sure he's exercising now. He's got to do some kind of conditioning. So he's, I think in a couple weeks he can get into football shape. Byron Jones pulling a Will Fuller, go take that money and run. He really wants to play. He's just particular about playing, and he's got to be right, and he has not been right, and he's had setbacks. That's what I keep hearing. It's not really a Will Fuller thing that he was kind of really not trying to come back. This guy's trying to come back. He needs to come back for next year. It's in his interest to play a couple of games. Will Fuller was done. He was done. His career was done. He didn't care. Some people just don't realize the position we're in. 8-4 after a loss to the best defense in the house. With our QB not playing well, the loss shows we are real. We're a real team. Relax, people. 12-5. Let's see. Let's see. Big O, I have a question. Do you rage at times watching games? Just curious. Wish you were live at times during games. There are times that I get all riled up. Yes, it happens to me. Yes, sir. Even Tua said in the press conference, it starts with him on the way he was playing that was connecting, and they will look at the film. Yeah. And I know he talked about also miscommunication and all that stuff, but he laid on the sword. He knows. It was him. Unfortunately, I'm a Tua guy, man. I'm a Tua guy through and through. I believe in the kid. I know he's going to be a star for this team, but he effed up yesterday. I'm not dancing around that shit. He effed up yesterday. He had a crap day, like you have, like I have, many times over in our lifetimes, in our jobs, that we just didn't have a good day. We weren't sharp, and he wasn't even close. Mike No-Go Zones, good morning, Big O. Just want to send a shout out to our Team USA for making it to the round of 16 at the World Cup. And I'm with you, Mike. Just to, put in my 2 cents. USA did a good job overall, man. Netherlands, they're not in their level, obviously, but this is a nice young group. So now we're going to find out what they can develop into over the next 4 years, into the next World Cup. And the pressure is now on, okay? Because as a U.S. soccer country now, and you could get to the round of 16, your guys need to grow now, and they need to do better on the next go-around. And I will have more expectations and more pressure on the U.S. squad. And my point is going to be, Mike, is it was nice. It was terrific for the United States to make it to the round of 16, correct? Okay. Now that you have the population, the resources, and the athletes, making it to the round of 16 is not enough anymore. So it's nice this year. Congratulations. Do better. We're the United States of America. We have better resources than most. We've got better athletes now playing soccer than ever. Okay. And so as that gets better, I expect football to get better for us internationally. Football, by the way. So next year, it's on. Find a way to get past around. Win a round after that. Okay? Get to the following stage. It's not enough to get to the round of 16 when you're the United States of America. So let's find a way to get deeper into the damn World Cup. That's the next job. Nice one this time around. Oh, and next time, isn't it here? Isn't it here 4 years from now? Oh, you better get past the knockout stage. You better get past the knockout stage. We're too rich of a country in everything. We should not be this mediocre at this sport. That's all I'm saying. Ray says, Big O, I agree with you. Your comments on Tua, he will bounce back. What do you think of Jacob DeGrom signing with the Jacob DeGrom? Risky contract, I would say. That's what I would call it. A very risky contract. That would be my my 2 cents on that one. Let's see. That's why Byron is not coming back. I don't know what that means, but I think Byron will come back. I think he has to come back. I was always a huge fan of Hank Stram. Such an innovative coach and a real character. True. Is he going to be that guy that can't show up on big games? Hope not. Buffalo wasn't a big game. I thought he won. Down 21 against Baltimore. He comes off the bench and wins the national title. What kind of stupid shit is that? See, that's what I love about some of these things that happen. It really shows people's stupidity. You know what I mean? It's either you're stupid, right? Because, I hope he's not the guy that doesn't show up in big games. If that's about Tua, then you're just stupid. You're just dumb. Because watch him. He shows up in big moments. Play like shit yesterday. He didn't choke yesterday. It wasn't like he was pressured and he was throwing it away and all that stuff. No, he had open guys and he missed them. That's it. He had a terrible day yesterday. But he's only been a clutch performer. That's what he's been. It's either you're a Tua hater, and so you want to then, any opportunity to jam on the kid, like now you'll do it, or you're just dumb and you're panicking over something negative that happens, and then you take what, even though he has played lights out for weeks now, he has one bad game, and that's what you want to then say, this is who he is, when he's shown you more on the other end. You're just stupid. You're just stupid. Okay? Just want you to know that. If you're going off of one game compared to the last 5, you're just stupid. None of it matters. On the road, Travis, was Baltimore down 21 on the road or not? I'm sorry. Let me go check here. Hold on. Let me check the schedule here a second. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me check. Was it on the road? Hold on. On the road. Wait a minute. Down 21. Hold on. My internet's slow. Let's see. Where is it? At Ravens, 42-38. Okay. All right. I got it now. Whatever, man. Again, stupidity is undefeated. You can't really defend it. You can't beat it either. Look at Herschel Walker. That's the dumbest mother effer I've ever seen. And, you've got people that put him there to represent a party. Like, really. And then you've got dumbasses that would actually be stupid enough to vote for him. Stupidity is undefeated because it just has no comprehension. So there's no way you can defeat stupidity. No, it's a road game. Well, I thought Baltimore was a road game. I thought you're down by 21. You're supposed to completely choke there, down by 21. I don't know. Not exactly sure. But whatever. Tua Time says Lamar Jackson's contract gets lower and lower each. Oh, let's talk about stupidity. Lamar Jackson is a fantastic young man. Really good dude. You can tell he's just a terrific young man. Good person, good heart. You can tell, right? Now let's compartmentalize. Let's separate church and state. Now let's take away Lamar Jackson, the amazing human being, person. He looks like a really cool dude and all that. I know he lost it with some fan last week and told him to eat a penis. And I get it, whatever. You get your frustrations get the best of all of us. We all make mistakes. We're all human beings. Lamar Jackson's a human being, dude. Okay. Was it right? No. But you can forgive and you can forget that. Now, we've said all of that, right? We've put it all aside now. One has nothing to do with the other. Now let's go to Lamar Jackson, the football player / businessman. Boy, you are a dumb mother effer. Boy, you are stupid. You are a first-class moron. You never hired an agent. You should have gotten paid 2 years ago. But stupidity leads you to think that you are going to prove everybody wrong when clearly some of you idiots don't see it, but that's all right. You're not a good passer. You never have been. You live off your legs. You will always live off your legs. And you got hurt, by the way, yesterday in the pocket. Because that can happen to any quarterback, but it's going to happen even more to guys that are also running the ball because they're taking on all kinds of hits. Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts, you better be watching. But you have agents. You guys are smart. You guys will get your contracts before your contract is up. Only Lamar Jackson would think that it was a smart move to bet on something that he can't do, which is become a good passer, and to survive a brutal game without a contract. Now, you went on a prove-it contract, and you've proven that you're wrong because you went a dumb-ass route. So now your passing game is weak. Your team settles for field goals all the time. You get in any kind of a shootout with a real quarterback, you're going to lose because you can't pass. And when they stop the run, just like Ryan Tannehill is a little different than Lamar. He's also limited as a passer. He's only a facilitator, but he's only good when Derrick Henry's running the ball. That's why yesterday he lost like a dog. But 3 weeks ago, you're bragging about one game that he puts together. But that's typical Ryan Tannehill. He'll put a game together because he's an athlete. But to that athlete's credit, at least he's always had an agent. Lamar Jackson is just catastrophically stupid. That's all. He's put himself in this position because he and his family went a dumb-ass route. A running quarterback gets the money as soon as possible. Do you know why? Every running quarterback ends the same. Injured, broken down. It took Cam Newton so long because he's built like Adonis. Tim Tebow couldn't pass and ended up his season with a punctured lung and broken ribs. Jalen Hurts, you will end up the same way. Guaranteed. Justin Fields, oh man, you're going to end up the same way. Yeah, you're fun to watch. You're all fun to watch. You all can run, and you're all going to take all kinds of hits, dumbasses. So learn to beat people from the pocket, because if you don't, you will end up injured. Oh, and by the way, before you're injured, don't beat Lamar. Get your money. So you will pay Jalen Hurts after next year. You will pay Justin Fields in 2 years. Whether they ever turn into real quarterbacks, we'll find out down the line. But Lamar Jackson should be the perfect example for the rest of the running quarterbacks that aren't real passers. Get your money as soon as possible. Always have an agent. Let professionals do what professionals do. Okay? I don't work with Sean Stanley because I can do Sean Stanley's job. If I could do Sean Stanley's job, I would not work with Sean Stanley. Correct? If I could do everything that Al Caballero can do for this platform, then I wouldn't actually work with him either, right? I can't do everything. I can't do the stuff that Sean does at his level ever. He's the professional. So if I want this platform to succeed, I must hire another professional to do a job I can't do. And if I have some legal issue, I'm not going to go represent myself. I'm going to go hire a lawyer. Because that's what you do. You let people do what they're supposed to do for you. And why? Because you want to save the 2%? Really, dude? Out of a $250 million contract, you're actually worried about $5 million. What kind of an idiot are you? You can't live with 245? Seriously? So you got to be so cheap, you need the extra $5 million. Well, guess what? Now you won't get to 245 either. Because you're a dumbass. Great young man. Super nice. You probably want your daughter to marry him. Fantastic young man. Dumb as bricks when it comes to business, when it comes to understanding the NFL. Dumb as bricks. That's it. That's it. There's no gray area here. It's black or white. Period. It's obvious or it's not. And obviously it wasn't for him. That's it. Catastrophically stupid. It's Herschel Walker stupid, what he did. And Herschel Walker is as dumb as it gets. End of story. That's it. And by the way, I've been talking about this for years now with him. That eventually, this is how it ends with him. Because he doesn't learn how to beat people from the pocket because he can't pass. And now he was stupid enough to play out his contract. And by the way, go check the videos. I talked about it at the beginning of the year. This is going to end up being I said it, this would be a blessing in disguise for the Ravens. Why? Because they would have been stupid enough to pay him 2 years ago. Now they can realize, do we really want to continue with this offense? Do we really want to continue with a guy that cannot pass, that cannot get us over the hump because he does not have the accuracy and he has to depend on his feet? And are we going to be that dominant on defense and on the running game that we won't need a passing game to win in a passing league? You must ask yourself that question if you think you can run your way to a title. You better have the Bucs defense. You better have the doomsday defense. You better have the steel curtain. You better have the no name. You better have, I don't know if the Broncos in 16 or whatever were paid. Did they give themselves a name? I don't know if they had one. The Bucs defense never had a name either, right? In 2003? Whatever. Okay, the Purple People Eaters. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with some dominant defenses from throughout. You better have one of those. Ravens don't. The sad reality is 95% of the people on this chat and nation really don't care how no football. They're ESPN followers. They don't know what they're watching. Just a reality. Brian says, Big O, you can't say that he's stupid. He's not that bad of a passer, brother. He's got no weapons. And QB rating, brother, watch the games. The stats don't mean shit, dude. None of them mean anything. They don't tell you. Watch the games. Again, thank you, True Fin fan. The reality is 95% of the people in this chat in the nation really don't know football. And Brian, you don't watch the games, bro. You're just watching the stats. He can't throw the entire passing tree at all. He throws crossing routes. He throws a couple of routes, and that's it. There are too many other routes. And look, once in a while, he'll hit some balls that you're like, wow, but that's because he's an athlete. But on a consistent basis, and I think, by the way, he's at low 60%, if I'm correct, which is actually not what's it called? Not a good percentage overall. And his touchdown to interception ratio, I'm not exactly sure what it is off the top of my head, but I don't know if it's that impressive, my friend. Again, I don't think you're watching it. 17-7. Where's that good? Elite quarterbacks, it's 4, 5, 6-1. Don't know if you know that, my man. Elite quarterbacks. Not 2-1, my friend. That's not an elite quarterback. Oh, and by the way, he doesn't have elite receivers because they don't want to be there. It's kind of like you have to trade for them or draft them. No one will ever sign to play with Justin Fields. No one will ever sign to play with Jalen Hurts. You have to go trade for A.J. Brown. But big-time receivers, they want the ball. Running quarterbacks, they don't throw the ball. Oh, by the way, 62% is not that impressive. That's mediocre. I'm not sure if you know that, my man. I'm not exactly sure if you actually follow the sport, but elite quarterbacks are over 65%. Not sure if you know that. So I'm not sure what your stats are reading, but that's what I'm reading here. He's not elite by any standards whatsoever as a passer. Listen to me. Lamar Jackson is not elite in any way, shape, and form as a passer. But you go ahead and fall for the bullshit stats. Go ahead. Go ahead. Add his running stats. Yeah, that helps you. Boy, that helps you. Check out all the playoff games he's had. Check out his playoff record. More like it. Go ahead. Check it out. Check out Hollywood Brown, who's really not a number one. He's probably a 2 or 3 on his best day. Check out why he said that he didn't feel he was part of the offense. Oh, I wonder why. Maybe because they run too much. You better trade for him or you better draft him because receivers are not going to be flocking to those quarterbacks. It's just the way it is. I don't pass a lot, my man. Learn the game. Watch what's actually going on in the game. And then you'll see. And you'll understand. I don't disagree about receivers wanting to play with a running QB, but they can get one if he's only after money and they pay well above market value. Well, has it happened yet? Have you seen a guy sign in free agency there? Have you seen him yet? So when it happens, Mike, then talk to me. But right now, what you're saying doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. They have to trade for them. They don't draft. They don't sign in free agency. They're not like, oh, let me see. Am I going to go to Mahomes? Am I going to go to Rodgers? Am I going to go to Tua? Am I going to go to, am I going to go to a pass? Or no, I'm going to go over to Jalen Hurts. I'm going to go over to Justin Fields. I'm going to go play with Lamar Jackson. No, dude. Sorry. So when it happens, when it starts happening, that means that they actually cross the threshold and they can be trusted as passers. Okay? So we'll see. Look, Hurts right now is the one guy that's having some success, and he has done a better job of passing than Fields and Lamar. Has he crossed that threshold yet? No, not yet. But he's done a much better job than those guys. I'll give him credit. He's made some improvement this year. Not there yet, but he has made some improvements. And AJ obviously is a monster, makes his life easy. It's like watching Tannehill. Not a great passer, a facilitator, and AJ Brown kicks ass with him. As long as you can run, which Philadelphia can run, with both the quarterback and the running backs, you'll be able to, get by with the passing game and it'll be effective for you. But they drafted one guy and they traded for the other. So we'll see. We'll see. What else do we have? South Beach, nice. No income tax as well. Just ask Cheetah. If Lamar misses a game, guess we'll see how much they'll miss Lamar. They suck with Lamar. What's their record? They're nothing special. 8-4. They ain't anything. They're a field goal team with running and it's not impressive. They won a game 10-9 because they beat the Broncos. By the way, what is the Ravens? What have they beaten? I'm wondering about that now that I think about it now. Let's see. They beat the Jets, lost to the Dolphins, beat the Pats, lost to the Bills, beat the Bengals, lost to the Giants, beat the Browns, beat the Bucks, beat the Saints, beat the Panthers, beat the Broncos, lost to the Jags. They don't really have a good schedule, to be quite honest. They haven't beaten a lot of quality teams. They beat the Bengals. The Bucks aren't a quality team. The Jets, half decent. Yeah. Look at their schedule. They ain't shit. It's a fraudulent 8-4 with a fraudulent quarterback. Actually, with a fraudulent running back that tries to play quarterback. Hurts has A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert to pass. Lamar has Devin Duvernay. Well, Lamar's gotten what he deserves, bro. And that's what Baltimore gets, what they deserve. They don't draft elite receivers. They don't trade for elite receivers. It is what it is. What are you going to do? Can't help you with that, but he does have elite tight ends, and he's had running games, and he's had an offensive line. He's had serviceable receivers. Duvernay's a good receiver. He's turned into a nice little player, man. So they've got some guys they've had that they can throw to, but on his end, he still doesn't become an elite passer, and he misses wide open. Again, watch the games. That's the problem. You're not watching the games. You won't see wide open receivers that he just overthrows all the time. Plays there to be made, and Lamar doesn't make it with his arm. That's why it's 62%. Okay. Let me run something by you. Because this is what you kind of need to see for those of you out there. Okay? Give you a nice little look, and you can understand this. Okay? Here we go. And now I got it, I think. Yes. Tua Tagovailoa, the 2020 season with no talent, no offensive line, 64%. Almost at 65, 64.1. With no talent, no offensive line, no running game, no nothing, and he can't save himself with his legs because that's not who he is. Last year, 67.8% Tua, with only one receiver. Okay? One receiver. No tight ends because they barely use Gesicki because that idiot coach would keep him on the bench. This year, 68.1. So in the 3 years, he's gone 64.1 his rookie year. His rookie year, which he doesn't really know the playbook. It's all made for fits. The coach, the OC was even telling Flo on the Rams week, he's not ready for this. And they played him anyways, but he had 64% passing. Still not good enough. Elite is 65, but his rookie year with that team was terrible. You all know that. Again, I don't know if you watch the games, but you got to watch the games. And that's the problem. So this whole thing about Lamar, this year, he still has better than anything that Tua had his first year. Coach, offensive line, running game, receivers, everything was better for Lamar right now than it was for Tua. And Lamar has experience, has 5 years of experience, and Tua was a rookie coming off a hip injury. Rehab most of that offseason, and his stats, his completion percentage is higher than Lamar's. As a neophyte, a rookie, not a 5-year veteran. Watch the games. There's a reason why he's put in this position now. Now, what I want to see is, are the Ravens smart enough to figure this shit out? Is what I want to know. That's what I want to know. Are they smart enough to figure this out, or are they going to go down that hole and stick with the kid when he can't pass you out of things that you need in a passing league? That'll be fun. If Tua would have been on, the 49ers would not have stopped the offense, even though the Niners defense knows McDaniel's scheming tendencies. McDaniel was not out-schemed. No, he schemed it perfectly. Tua didn't hit the open receivers. That's all. Pretty simple. That's all it was. Tua lost the game yesterday, man. That's all. Just like I tell you that Lamar is not the guy, and I'll tell you yesterday, Tua wasn't the guy yesterday. He screwed up. Only problem is with Lamar, I've never seen him be the passer that Tua has been this year. That's never happened. Never will happen, by the way. I think Big O and Lamar got some beef. No, I got nothing against the kid. He's a fantastic young man. I'm just not a sucker for, what's obvious in today's offenses. He just can't play in today's offenses. And that offense would have been better, 40 years ago. But in this world, that's why he pees in his pants every time he gets to the playoffs. You got to be able to pass, man. Got to be able to pass in this league. And the one thing that Tua can do, did not do yesterday. He needed to be a good passer yesterday, and he sucked yesterday. So that's how it goes. Just like I'll tell you that offense in Baltimore will never get anywhere as long as you have a mediocre passer. Well, yesterday, Tua was a mediocre passer, and that's why you lost. It wasn't defense. It wasn't running game. It wasn't coaching. McDaniel schemed it perfectly. Receivers were open. Right? Receivers were open. There weren't DBs draped all over the receivers. There wasn't defenders draped all over Tua. He had time. He had open, plenty of time. Dude was off. There's no other way to describe what happened yesterday. And as I told you, the last play to Gesicki, that was the perfect description of that entire game. He puts it here. Where what? The defender gets in. He puts it here. It's a completion and a first down. Ball placement was everything. That's it. I was watching the Sunday night shows. I forgot which guy was saying, oh, no, that was a good throw. The defender made a good. No, it wasn't. It was not a good throw. Ball placement is everything. When I talk about accuracy, when we talk about anticipatory skills And we talk about ball placement. The kid is exceptional at all three. He sucked yesterday. That's it. Right here, you ended the game. I give Gesicki a crap ton of credit just for being able to trap it. But if he puts it here, away from the defender either has to foul him or Gesicki gets the first down. And you make it nice and easy for him to catch it and cradle it and bring it into his body. But when you put it here, game over. You allowed the defender to get back into the play. All right, time to talk to Alan Poupart, baby, in our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report.
Dolphins fans, time to get insight on your favorite team with your favorite reporter with an Expos hat. Sports Illustrated's Alan Poupart in our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report, exclusively on a Big O radio show.
All right. Poupart, how you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
Yep, no complaints.
All right. Well, I think you were in the batter's box there waiting. And by the way, thank you for bringing the Expos hat back because that's what you're supposed to do. All right. Your thoughts on to me, bro, you heard me. It was all Tua yesterday. To me, that's all I blame it on. Everything was perfect. McDaniels called every play right. Receivers were wide open for some reason or another. And I'm not blaming the ankle either. He had a shit day, bro. That's it.
No, he was completely off, but I'm one who was going to be quick to tell you when he lights it up, it's a team. It's not just him. And when they lose, it's not just him. Absolutely no question. He was off, and there were a couple of things. And I'm going to take issue here with one key play the Dolphins had in the first half that was, I don't know what the hell that was about. It was a 3rd and 1 where Tua was sacked. And on the play, it's basically Alec Ingold goes out into the pattern.
Oh my God! Yeah,
and then they have Jeff Wilson. And if you recall their yardage, it was 3rd and 1, and that's being polite. It was it was less than half yard. That's a quarterback sneak, handoff to Alec Ingold. While you're having Tua do a straight drop back on that play with your 2 running backs responsible for blocking Bosa. That one, I didn't get that one. And then there were other things. There was a bad sequence by Robert Hunt where he got the hold, which was kind of ticky-tack. I've seen a lot worse holds not go uncalled. And then on the next play, he allows pressure. Tua throws. Jeff Wilson's running down the field, not looking anywhere. To make it worse, he stumbles, allows Jimmy Ward, the DB, to jump over him to make the easy pick.
Yeah, because he's supposed to turn around there, and that's a spot he's supposed to be at. Instead, he's tripping into the defenders, and the defenders are moving into the spot where the ball is going to be at. And so I don't blame Tua for that one. I think that's the miscommunication one that he was talking about before, by the way.
But there's another one too, if you recall. I think it may have been the first pass after the touchdown to start the game, where he's rolling to his left and he throws to Tyreek. And he throws it 5 yards to the left, and Tyreek, and like on the ground, and Tyreek's 3 yards up the field. Like they weren't on the same page. I hadn't seen that like the whole year. Everything with the timing was just like so perfect for 4 weeks, and everything was just off yesterday. Timing, Tua's accuracy was off. I've heard some fans blame the defense, fire Josh Boyer with the crazy reaction. It wasn't a great effort by the defense. It wasn't terrible.
By the way, can we just give the Purdy kid a little love? Because, it's like, okay, so our 7th rounder, he can be the golden child, and maybe he can be better than Tua, right? But their 7th rounder, oh my God, we're insulted that he played well. Dude, he was drafted. He's in the NFL. The guy threw for 12,000 yards in college. He actually the moment never looked big for him. I was really impressed how composed he was. Give the young man some credit. Maybe he lasted a 7th rounder because others, overlooked it, or maybe he just had his, Flynn moment, like Matt Flynn a few years back, whatever it was, 15, 20 years ago, when Matt Flynn played a couple of games and everybody freaked out and stuff like that. just give the kid Purdy some credit. He played well, man. There were times that they pressured him, and he took it like a man and completed some passes. Sometimes you just got to, tip your hat to the other guy and not make it sound like it's a complete insult that he actually played well. He's a
not only that,
player.
It's not like he lit up the Dolphins secondary either. He had one play that was a key play in the game that was a big-time play for any quarterback. I don't care if it's a rookie or what. If you recall, late in the first half, 3rd and 10, Jalen Phillips right in his face immediately, and he threw a dart to Kittle right down the middle for a first down. That kept alive their drive. That gave him the lead right before halftime, and that was a key momentum swing in this game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just it's funny. Like, well, all of us late rounders now. Well, how about Tom Brady? Right? It's like, so you could use the Tom Brady thing as a late, pick to like say, no, you can't pick somebody late, but you can't use him when he has success against your defense. It's weird, right? It's just like you can't use it for, it's like it's a convenient argument.
No, but he was asked to manage the game and make an occasional play here and there, and that's what he did. And yes, you absolutely. But those people are going like, we lost to Mr. Irrelevant, fire all the defensive coaches. I mean, come on. But then again, overreaction Monday, right?
Well, as I say, so maybe a third-string quarterback was making plays against third-string corners at times. I mean, it's not like first-string corners are out there all the time. By the way, it's not like first-string safeties are out there all the time. By the way, Eric Rowe is playing safety because they have no freaking choice to play him. He's a specialist that they used to use just for tight ends. He's never really excelled at covering receivers and running backs. He's always been incredibly inconsistent when it comes to those players. He found his niche here by covering tight ends, and now they're using him more than they really need to. But it's
because of injury. The play that bothered me with Eric Rowe, and I'm going to go back to my earlier point. I mean, how many big time throws did Purdy make? I mean, so let's calm down with that. My big problem with Eric Rowe yesterday, if you recall, the 4th and 1 on the quarterback sneak. I mean, Zach Sealer has that thing stuffed, and Eric Rowe did not come up to fill that gap where he allowed the quarterback to spin and get the first down.
To defend Sealer, he was off balance. His base.
I'm blaming Rowe on that. I'm not blaming Sealer.
And you're right to blame Rowe, but I can't know because some people are picking on Sealer. Like, oh, how come you can't stop go look at the damn play, dude?
Because he's got 3 guys blocking him while he's trying to wrap up the QB. I mean,
right, and his body's twisted. He doesn't have the leverage he needs. If he had his feet, he would have slammed the quarterback down, bro. Right. He wouldn't have lost that. He made a hell of a play, but unfortunately, in the angle he was at, he had no leverage, and he needed help, and nobody came to help out on that play. You're 1,000% right. And by the way, was it Eric? Yes, it was Eric Rowe that lost somebody on a crosser also. On a man-on-man play.
When are you talking about?
There was, I want to say it was in the second quarter, and there was a crosser that somebody caught on the other side. I forgot who it was, and he was supposed to follow the guy because it was a man-on-man. It was in zone at that moment. And when he because he didn't follow him, he reacted late. The guy caught the ball, and it was a big gainer. It was whatever 15 yards or whatever. But there was Eric. What can I tell you?
And he wasn't the only one.
I can't blame Josh Boyer for this, dude. I can't blame Josh Boyer when Riley trips and the guy gets back downfield. I can't blame Josh Boyer if X gets burned on a crossing route because he's got 2 growing injuries, and that lateral movement must be brutal for his ass. You know what I mean? But am I going to blame Josh Boyer that X isn't himself? I can't do that, dude. Sometimes people, they get a little crazy about this, and they don't really understand what the hell is going on. And sometimes players need to make the plays. They're there. There were many times yesterday that Purdy, completed a pass to somebody, and the Dolphin defender was right there. It was just the player made the play and then got a couple more yards, whether it was Deebo Samuel or whatever, and you did not make the play. It wasn't that it was a bad call, just like on the offensive side. McDaniel designed them perfectly. The receivers were open. Tua missed them, dude. What are you going to do? But I can't blame McDaniel on that at all.
No, here's the thing, though. The X groin is no longer an issue. And the play you're talking about on the crosser, the guy just got an inside position on him and beat him on a cross. It's going to happen. He's going to get beaten.
That's on the playbook. Everybody's doing it on him.
Well, correct. No, the one thing, if I'm going to have a gripe about strategy, is I'm not exactly sure why you're putting Duke Riley on Christian McCaffrey, because that looked like a mismatch. So it wasn't just that one play. There was
Who are you going to put? Who are you going to put?
I don't know. That's a good question, but
there's nobody.
Riley was not the answer.
Nobody. Come on, dude. There's nobody that's going to stay with that guy. It's not a Duke Riley thing. It's Christian McCaffrey, man. I
can't. You can't use that either, because then if in the unlikely,
it's not good enough.
You what?
They're just not good enough at that position to stay with McCaffrey, my brother. They don't have the line.
And you have to come up with a different
the guy that's supposed to be with McCaffrey is too young.
Yeah, that's not even a conversation. I mean,
I know that's what I'm saying.
There's a reason he plays only special teams.
Right, that he's too green at this point, probably, to read and react or whatever it is. He must be failing in that classroom left and right because he doesn't play. But he's the one that has the athletic ability to possibly stay with a kid like that. Possibly. I mean, we are talking about Christian McCaffrey. I mean, so I just don't. Outside of Jerome Baker, maybe, who's got really great athleticism and speed, there just aren't a lot of guys that could stay with Christian McCaffrey.
That's fair. And that's big picture. This was not a crippling loss. As I wrote last night, there's still the website 538. It has them 87% chance of making the playoffs. The AFC, they control their fate. I don't use this, and they control their fate to win the AFC's title if they win out. The game at Buffalo is the huge one. If they were going to lose at some point, this was the game to lose because it's an NFC game. So.
By the way, I feel better about the Chargers game this week. Vegas has Miami favored by 2.5 points, by the way. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I said last night, Tua hits those guys. This is a completely different game. They probably win this game if everything. This tells me that if you go to Los Angeles and play the game the way it's supposed to be played, you'll be fine. You can win this game. I everything was there to be made. The plays were there to be made. McDaniel found the holes in the defense. The receivers found the spots. I actually feel better about this Chargers game this week. And slash, here's the real pressure finally on Tua. He's got to redeem himself this week. He has no choice. He has to redeem himself, and they got to win this week going to Buffalo. They have to.
No, and the Chargers are a massively, massively flawed 6-6 team.
Yes.
They can't stop the run. They can't run the ball. They can't protect their quarterback. Their pass rush is very shaky. How they're 6-6 is beyond me. I mean, it's an incredibly winnable game, and the fact that they're favored on the road tells you all you need to know.
Right. Yeah. In fact, Vegas probably saw a lot of the same things we did. Like, yeah, Miami gave that game away yesterday. If they're sharp in their passing game, we got a completely different game. Yep. You look at that score, 33-17, you think, oh, they kicked their ass. No, dude, they didn't kick their ass. Even Tua playing like shit, it was a 23-17 game, dude.
With a chance to take the lead. It's the same thing like that Jets game where the final score was 40-17. That wasn't a 40-17 game. And yesterday, that wasn't a 33-17 game. I mean, seriously.
Right. Exactly. Injury-wise, what do we know? Just the two guys.
We know that Tua's got to stop getting his lower legs bent, because at some point that's going to be a major problem, because it happened twice. And now, like the reports this morning from NFL Network was that it's fine and he's going to play and all that. But there were two plays, and we remember the Houston game where he got bent backward before halftime. It happened not once but twice yesterday with Bosa. Once on the roughing the passer penalty, and then once on the strip sack, where he also got bent backwards again. I mean, it's like, and then two after the game, if you saw his press conferences, like they were asking him how he felt, and he didn't give the normal, I'll be bruised up tomorrow, and he kind of danced a little bit around the question. So it's like they need.
That's not fun.
No.
Look at Jimmy Garoppolo on the other side. I mean, he's worse than Tua. He constantly is knocked out for seasons. He has even worse luck than Tua in this league. It's a crazy thing, dude, to stay. That's why it's so important for him to throw away the ball, because just playing the position is brutal. You don't need to hold it for 4 or 5 seconds and have some 300-pounder, just pick up some speed and load up on your ass.
But there wasn't a situation yesterday where he hung on to the ball too long. It's just like the way he was tackled. And no, did you see this nugget that I tweeted that Jimmy Garoppolo has made 3 starts against the Dolphins? He's left the game with an injury all 3 times.
Right. Well, listen, he gets injured a lot.
No, he does. But it's like it was a freak thing. It was a freak thing yesterday.
Yeah, dude, that guy came in for Brady and couldn't stay healthy. Do you remember that? That they had to play Brissett.
Brissett was against the Dolphins.
They had to play Jabroni
against the Dolphins.
Yeah, they had to play Jabroni because he couldn't even stay healthy in the 4-game stretch that Brady was. That the Spygate, the Deflategate suspension. That's what it was, right? It wasn't an injury. It was a 4-game suspension.
And then it wouldn't have been his first start because it was the second game of the season. But I remember he started against the Dolphins and knocked out of the game, and Brissett came in.
Right, exactly. And they went 3-1 in that stretch with Brissett and Garoppolo, with Brady out during the suspension. Because I remember the Dolphin Nation was like pissed, like, damn it, dude. They had the backup quarterbacks and they still went 3-1, and Brady's back and they're just, and they're off and running and that kind of stuff. But I remember, that's been Garoppolo's history from the get-go. But I mention it because some people, oh, well, Tua's always injured. Yeah, he misses a couple games every year. You're right. I can't argue that. But if you really look around, there's a lot more players that maybe miss even more time than Tua. You know what I mean? So, because Garoppolo is one of those guys that you heard there were people in Dolphin Nation that told you they should go trade for Garoppolo over Tua, right?
Well, and that's part of the reason why the 49ers were ready to move on from him, is they feel they can't depend on him for the long run. So I think that was partly that, and partly, well, he's good. We win with him, but is he Super Bowl champion good?
And there was a story floating from Ian Rappaport before the game that they would be open to bringing him back. Well, we'll see how Brock Purdy plays from here on out, and I'll tell you if they're willing to bring him back.
That's a very good point.
It's a lot cheaper to keep Brock Purdy if he does play well, and then you can try and see if you can figure out Trey Lance and fix it all. All right, what do you got going on Sports Illustrated so folks can check you out, my friend, at alldolphins.com?
Well, as I mentioned last night, I looked at the playoff outlook, which again, it's still very, very encouraging. It would be
not worried.
No, I'm not worried about them making the playoffs. And if we're looking again at making the playoffs, if you look at, I know a lot of fans were pissed off that New England didn't beat Buffalo on Thursday night. For making the playoffs' sake, that was good for the Dolphins because it creates some space with them. Did the snap count observations completely? I knew Mike Gesicki didn't play a lot, but looking at him getting 9 snaps, it's like,
I know.
Why in the hell did you pay him the franchise tag of $10.8 million?
Well, they had the money. They didn't care.
They could have used it on somebody on another position. Come on, they could have used it on another position.
Why not try it? And if it doesn't work, eventually we'll get compensatory value for him when he does leave and signs with somebody else. He's going to excel in the right offense.
I agree, but it's clearly not this one. And I think Mike McDaniel's smart enough that I'm gonna guess he pretty much knew all along that this is really not a good fit. So I'm not exactly quite sure what the thinking was on there. Anyway, you were asking me about what I got going on. Let me see. Mike McDaniel is speaking via Zoom later today, so obviously we're going to attack that and everything else. A couple of more things related to the game yesterday before we close the book and start looking forward to the Chargers.
Follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. Catch him twice a week here with the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. Alan, as always, thank you, my friend. Keep rocking. And don't forget, folks, to follow Alan on Sports Illustrated at alldolphins.com. That officially makes you a Dolphin when you bookmark alldolphins.com. Poop, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
I'll talk to you on Thursday.
You got it. There you go. Alan Poupart, baby. And our EJDconstruction.com Fins Up Report.
You've been listening to the EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins Report with Sports Illustrated's Alan Poupart. For additions, home remodeling, and custom work, call Eric at 305-433-4843. EJDconstruction.com is your custom home builder and general contractor you can trust. 305-433-4843.
Passer ratings for the NFL. Geno Smith is now number 1 at 107.6 this week. Tua, by the way, with a crappy week, fell to number 7 this week. Okay. Geno Smith was awesome again yesterday. He is having, I never saw this. Most of us never saw this coming. By now, we thought Geno's career was over. Okay. In fact, I thought they were tanking in Seattle. When they were starting Geno Smith, I go, okay, well, they're tanking. I get it. I don't blame them. And Geno Smith has played out of his mind. Joe Burrow was awesome yesterday, 106.2. Aaron Rodgers, 103.2. Dak Prescott, 102.1. Tied with Mahomes. No, Mahomes was 101.1, my bad. Then Garoppolo was 100.5. And then Tua Tagovailoa, 99.9. Tom Brady was 98.3. Matt Stafford, 97.7. Jalen Hurts, 96.7. Kirk Cousins, 96.4. And Justin Herbert, 95.3. Okay. So there you go. That's what you got going on through this week. I think it's got to be over 100 attempts, if I'm correct on that. Rough one yesterday, man. There's no other way to do it. Let's see. Baker Mayfield, he asked for the release. The Panthers agreed. This locks in the 5th rounder in the trade with the Browns rather than a 4th rounder. And P.J. Walker is expected to be the Panthers' backup. Okay. So there you go. I root for P.J. Walker. He was one of my favorite players to watch in the XFL. Yes, I'm that loser. I watch the XFL. And I'll watch this one now and the USFL and all that. Maybe not as religiously as I would like, but I will. But I will watch it. No doubt about it. I do keep up with that minor league football. Now we have 2 minor league football leagues. Yeah, baby. We are ready to go. Alan, your thoughts on the refs yesterday was the fix in. Oh, please. Cap for Life. They lost because Tua was off. Nothing else. That's loser talk, talking about the refs. Was there a questionable call or two? Whatever, dude. In the end, they were going to lose. Had nothing to do with it. I'm not blaming the refs. I'm not blaming the running game was never going to dominate in this game. And I'm not blaming the defense. I'm not blaming Mike McDaniel. I'm not blaming Josh Boyer. I'm blaming Tua and the passing game. The passing game failed the Dolphins yesterday. End of story. The rest of the stuff might have contributed a little bit here, a little bit there, but the main reason, if Tua hits his receivers like he normally does, it's a win. He passes for almost 500 yards, okay? He passed for 300 yards, missing a crap ton of dudes. Because if he hits those, they lead to more because he would have kept drives alive. So it would have been even more yards. Stop knocking your head against the wall trying to blame anything but Tua, okay? We praise the crap out of Tua like I do all the time. We give him love for his accuracy. We give him love for being clutch. We give him love for putting up points and throwing touchdowns left and right and an incredible passer rating and all of that. But we have to be fair too. When he doesn't play well, we have to point it out. Marino didn't play well all the time. There were times where he played like shit and he forced interceptions and he had a terrible day. That happened to Marino several times in his career. And those of us that love Marino and watch Marino, you remember, oh man, Dan doesn't have it today. Dan's a little pissed. He's forcing stuff. That's what you said. And you chalked it up to that, remember? And I get it. For some of you out there, he doesn't have the track history of Dan Marino, but I'm going to chalk it up that way. Bad day, man. Bad day. And there were a few of those that Marino, I've watched Marino get benched, where Shula was like, yeah, you just don't have it. We got to sit you down, Dan. And in came Stroker and finished out the game, played the rest of the fourth quarter, whatever, because it wasn't that day for Dan. I lived it. I saw it. And I've watched Tua be deadly accurate. I showed you his completion percentage his last 3 years. His worst year is 64%. Dude's accurate, man. That's not the guy that I normally know. Okay? What is this? Department of Homeland Security has delayed the deadline for air travelers to have a real ID another 2 years. So to 2025. Okay. All right. Okay. I didn't know that was such big-time breaking news. Earth-shattering breaking news coming along the wire. Big O, how much are the Finns going to have to pay Wilkins? He's performing like a top 10, maybe top 5. Top 5. Top 5, bro. Wilkins is playing his ass off. Oh, they're going to be paying him well over $15 million a year. That's what I think. I don't know exactly what it is, but they're going to be paying Christian Wilkins a lot of money. And guess what? He deserves every single penny of it. By the way, get your fantasy football questions ready right now. Let's go. Andy Behrens is ready to join us with our Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone. We do it every Monday, every Friday at noon. Send in your questions on the YouTube chat board. Send them in on the Welt and Rayom text line, 855-912-1056. And I tell you all the time about Welt and Rayom because I experienced it myself when Progressive Insurance was trying to screw us after we had a bunch of kids thinking that they were fast and furious, and they went through the wall of my house and destroyed a bunch of crap. And you know what? Their adjusters, not the insurance adjusters, Progressive couldn't send their insurance adjuster for months. Well, our adjuster from Welt and Rayom came over and had everything set up, did everything. So when their insurance adjuster came in, our guy crushed him. They were offering us 1/5 of what we ended up getting. 1/5. Not half. No. 1/5. That's 20%, folks, for those of you that aren't very good at math. I got to tell you, Jeff and Dan kicked their asses. So if you have any kind of an accident, condo damage, water damage, property damage, you name it, car damage, you call Welt and Rayom first because they have the great adjusters that are going to make sure they're working for you. All those other adjusters are working for the insurance company, not for you. They want to make their insurance companies happy, so they're working for their insurance companies all the time. These adjusters, they're not stupid. They're not working for you. They don't give a shit about you. Welt and Rayom cares about you. So Dave Broward and Palm Beach counties, call them. You can call them for a free consultation. You don't have to go to the office or anything like that. You can do it all by phone, until you got to go pick up that fat ass check. 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646 for Welt and Rayom. And you tell them that Big O sent you. They'll take care of you. All right, let's go to Andy Behrens next.
Welt and Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They're committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. Property damage claims to your home, business, or condo as a result of a hurricane. Welton Rayom can help. Water, mold, fire, smoke damage, Welton Rayom can help. Call 954-966-4646.
Why is it that you get locked out in the worst moments of your life?
Where are my car keys? Man, I can't find my house keys.
In those frustrating moments, you need a locksmith you can count on. A. Lenny Locksmiths in South Florida, from Miami to Port St. Lucie. In Central Florida, A. Lenny locks it down in Orlando and Tampa Bay. Lockouts or lock changes for home or business. Car key replacements and programming all model cars. 24-hour service. Call them at 855-869-5625. Go to the website at alennylocksmith.com.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website.
All right. There he is, locked and loaded and ready to go. How you feeling, my man?
Good. Once again, the Cutter's Edge music has me ready to run through a damn wall. That thing's awesome.
Yes, it is. It's always, it's got that rock feel, that edginess to it.
I'm ready to rush the stage every time I hear it.
Once you're watching that
whatever reason,
landscaping, you're just ready to dress up your house with
I see the top of that tree coming down and I'm like, almost nothing fires me up quite like the Cutter's Edge.
Yep,
jingle.
they can knock them down,
man.
And they can erect them too, also, because they erected 2 big trees here. We got big barks here in our in our yard. So Cutter's Edge Pro brings it. Just want you to know they bring the big lumber to your house.
I don't doubt you. I do not doubt you, sir.
I'm just telling you, you want to witness the big lumber, you come on over to the Big O's house and you'll see the big lumber placed there by the folks at Cutter's Edge Pro. All right, so injuries.
Too damn many injuries. What a brutal week. Like, this
Brock
is not
Purdy, the number 1 pickup of the week, Brock Purdy.
He was fine. I watched a fair amount of him in college. I went to the University of Iowa, so we saw Iowa State every year. He's fine. He doesn't have a big arm. He didn't strike me at the collegiate level as somebody who was going to necessarily even stick in the NFL for very long. He was Mr. Irrelevant, obviously, in the draft. He's somebody who needs to release the ball earlier than most quarterbacks, right? Not a ton of zip there. Not somebody who's going to push the ball downfield necessarily. Just needs to make anticipation throws. He's got a little bit of mobility, but he's nothing special in the pocket. This is obviously not a great situation for San Francisco. They get the win this past week, and they've got a great defense and all that. But look, it's 2022. And you don't win a Super Bowl because you have the best defense in the league. Like, at some point, they ran into the Chiefs earlier this season. The Chiefs put 44 on them. At some point, you're going to play somebody who's going to put up a number, and it's just not realistic to think that you're gonna make it through a string of games in the postseason against good teams with Brock Purdy at quarterback. It's just not going to happen. It was already dicey in my mind with Jimmy. And it's almost unthinkable right now, which I too bad, because the team has just about everything. They've got good coaching, they've got a great defense, they've got elite talent at all the skill spots, and they just simply do not have a quarterback right now, and there's no way to get one in week 14.
And unfortunately, Jimmy has the worst luck in the world, dude, because it's just it really, that was a freakish injury there, man. It was just one of those things that it can happen to anybody. But somehow or another, he has worse luck than most. He can't stay healthy ever.
You're putting it well too, because it's honestly, when things like, I mean, the NFL is just a violent game. Everybody knows that. Car crash on every play and whatnot. It's not as if, you can call a guy injury prone, I suppose, if it's a situation where, it's one injury that lingers from one season to the next, and we're always worried about it with this guy. Like, if you want to talk about Julio Jones and his hamstrings, fine.
Your boy. Your receiver from Chicago, White, right? A couple years back.
Oh, Kevin White, sure, yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. But this is different stuff with Jimmy every year. This is just a product of the fact that you're the target as the quarterback, and you're going to get hit a ton, no matter who you are, whether you're a mobile quarterback, not a mobile quarterback. They're all going to get hit, and it's a different body part every time. It seems it's just really unfortunate, because that was they were on the short list of teams in the NFC that you really thought could challenge Philadelphia.
I'm with you there. You guys got questions? You want to send in your fantasy football questions? The best way I see them is on the Welt and Rayom text line at 855-912-1056. That's 855-912-1056 on the Welt and Rayom text. And of course, you can send them in here on the chat board, and I will fish them out also here on the chat board. You can send them in on Twitter at Big O Show. That's another way that I can find them. Brian Looper is asking, should I start Kirk Cousins against the Lions or Dak Prescott against the Texans?
Well, we should all have your problems in week 14, because there's 6 damn teams on bye, and all these guys suffered injuries in week 13. And here you are dealing with a Kirk Cousins or Dak Prescott problem. Either one's going to be great. I'm probably going to have Kirk Cousins just a shade above. Super close. There's not a bad answer here. We're going to have both of them probably in the top 6, top 8. Again, there's so many quarterbacks out this week. Dak is the guy who throws to CeeDee Lamb, and Kirk is the guy who gets to throw to Justin Jefferson. Both of them are living well. It's going to be Kirk for me in what I think can be a shootout of a game, and that's kind of the tiebreaker here. Like, I would imagine that the Houston Dallas game goes a little bit like the game we just saw from Dallas, right? Where Dak doesn't have to put up a huge yardage total. The touchdowns are there, but I think it was like 170 and 3 touchdowns. And obviously that game got very far out of hand in the second half. I would imagine the Houston game is going to go the same way. I think Zeke and Tony Pollard are both in for big days. But the Lions are frisky. Like, I know they haven't won a lot of games, and that's a little maybe you think that's a little dicey. The defense is generous and whatnot, but that offense can put a number on you. They've basically been, a top 3rd NFL offense all season. They got a lot of talent. They just get Jameson Williams back. They've already got Amon-Ra St. Brown. They've got DeAndre Swift getting healthier. Like, that is a really good team. And that game can finish like 35-31, and it wouldn't be a huge shock. So I think Kirk is going to have to throw for 4 quarters, and I think Dak will not.
All right. Joey Vasquez is asking, Kenneth Walker was my RB1. Pierce was my RB2. I have Wilson, Ricard White, and Samanji Perine on my roster. Should I pick up James Cook or McKinnon as replacements? Who else can keep me afloat?
Yeah, let's just hit on a bunch of those names quickly. What we know about Kenneth Walker right now is they called it a jammed ankle. They said that it's not like a traditional ankle sprain apparently, where it got twisted to either side, but rather it's jammed. I don't know what the timeline on this is going to be. There's no obvious pickup there either. It was, DJ Dallas had a really disappointing day behind Walker on Sunday. Travis Homer had a knee issue and an illness, and he was inactive. He might be the guy. Nobody's going to do what Kenneth Walker was doing. So I don't think there's an obvious pickup there. Samaje Perine probably is going to lose a big chunk of his value because Joe Mixon was close to making it back from concussion protocol this past week, and he's surely going to be back, in the week ahead. So that's a huge ding for Perine. In my view, James Cook would be the priority here. And there's a couple guys on a lot of waiver wires right now who should be popular ads this week at running back. One of them, obviously, Cam Akers, available in over 50% of Yahoo leagues at the moment. Scored a couple touchdowns. Has not been a particularly explosive player this year, but he just played over 70% of the snaps. And again, found the end zone twice. He'd be fun. James Cook, though, that was something. And I can't say I saw it coming, because once that team traded for Nyheim Hines, we thought, okay, well, if there's going to be a James Cook surge at some point, it's going to have to wait to a future season. But no, he's been really good, actually, since Hines joined the team. And Cook is coming off a game in which everybody was healthy in that backfield, and he handled 20 touches. I think it was 6 catches, 105 scrimmage yards, looked great, looked the part, was on the field late. And again, it wasn't an injury situation with Devin Singletary. Actually, they basically split snaps in that game. So Cook is a real part of the plan for that team moving forward. He's not going to see 20 touches each week, but I think at this point you have to assume that it's going to be double-digit touches, which should be enough to get you through a couple of weeks without Kenneth Walker.
What about DJ Dallas?
Yeah, that was messy. Poor DJ Dallas had to come back into that game. He was doubtful. Like, he suffered an ankle injury as well, was called doubtful, and then had to return to the game because like Tony Jones was getting mauled and Walker was already out. And he's not a super explosive player. He's not a talent of the level of Kenneth Walker. And again, he's gonna come back next week, presumably to a backfield that also includes like Travis Homer, who was running ahead of him previously. It's a super messy situation.
Another hurricane, baby. DJ Dallas and Travis Homer.
Yeah, if you get bonus points for Hurricanes.
How about Zonovan? Is Zonovan an option?
Yeah, if he's available. He was mass added a week ago, obviously, because Michael Carter suffered the injury. And the key thing there, without respect to Carter's injury, is that Zonovan Knight was clearly in the plans already, right? Like he was getting touches before Carter got hurt a couple weeks ago.
But he still might be available in some leagues.
And they'd made James Robinson inactive. He's available in about 53% of Yahoo leagues right now. So if you missed the rush last week, you could probably still get him this week in a lot of formats. Like if you're playing an 8 or a 10 team league, he might still be out there. I will say, I enjoy, maybe we talked about this last week, I enjoy his rushing style. I kind of just stylistically, I like guys who pick out a defender and decide they're going to run through them. But he's not like a super elusive character. I would say
that's roughly why he's doing that. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, he
can't run around you.
He gets what's blocked, and then he picks up a couple of yards when he decides to lower his head and go through somebody. That's why they nicknamed him Bam at the collegiate level, right? Like he's fun. I don't know that he's substantially better than like what we would be getting from James Robinson, but he's clearly running ahead of James Robinson right now, and the Jets are clearly a run committed team. So yeah, he's definitely out there and available in a lot of leagues and should be scooped up.
All right. Jason Meyer says, Big O, I have a ton of buys next week. Need a flex option. Corey Davis at Buffalo out. DJ Chark versus Minnesota next week. Any other guys you recommend?
If available, I'm pretty interested in Nico Collins. And this has nothing, his quarterback situation is bad, right? Like he a former Michigan guy, plays for the Houston Texans now. Kyle Allen is a bit of a train wreck of a quarterback. They don't really have any good quarterback options. Who knows what they'll do moving forward. They're obviously,
well, you talked about it. What about Jameson Williams? You talked about the Lions.
Yeah, he's fun. He didn't see a target and he barely played. So I don't know what their plan is for Jameson Williams. I wouldn't.
It looks like they're starting. It looks like that's a guy you're starting to use. Yeah, you're right. If you need production this week, no.
I mean, it sounds like this is a bye-week coverage issue, right? So like, if I were stashing a guy for the end of the season, would I take a flyer on Jameson Williams? Sure, he's got Chicago in week 17. But if we're trying to cover week 14, I want somebody that I know is going to get volume, and I know that's Nico Collins. And honestly, if we're just talking about physical attributes, Collins has him. He's 6'4", he's got 4.44 speed. He's got leaping ability. He should have been a better collegiate player. A little bit of that was the quarterback play at Michigan at the time. But he's a great athlete. And all of a sudden he's drawing 9-10 targets a game. They're not great targets. They're Kyle Allen targets, but he did find the end zone this past week. And at that sort of volume, I think he's probably one of the most interesting names out there. It is a rough week on waivers at wide receiver. I'll say that.
I got one for you. Waddle has got a little ankle injury. Trent Sherfield.
I can't have it. I can't have Jalen Waddle injured right now. Listen, Big O. I need
I'm just giving you. I don't want Jalen Waddle, dude. I'm a Dolphins fan. I need us
to manifest a healthy Jalen Waddle.
He might be a little bit more of a decoy this week. Trent Sherfield has proven to be very reliable all year long. And I'm just saying, this is going to be a shootout on Sunday night.
Sherfield's a fun player. You saw it early in the Dolphins game this past week, and he's flashed a number of times this season. I'd probably lean Collins there because the volume is clearly going to go his way, but Sherfield is plenty good.
Okay.
Oh man, John, I bet you're looking forward to a Herbert Tua clash, aren't you?
Oh yeah. I can't wait for Herbert to lose again. Jahan Dotson is another option right now.
Headed into a bye is the problem. He's one of the million players headed into a bye week.
Yes,
but he obviously did flash this last week. Saw a bunch of targets. Found his way to the end zone again. That was exciting. There's just a handful of guys who kind of popped this past week who are headed into buys because, I mean, like what a miserable situation the NFL has put some of these teams in. Like waiting until week 14 for a bye. Like if you're a playoff team, I guess that's great, but some of these teams really could have used the bye like 6 weeks ago, and they're already out of playoff contention, and I don't even know what we're doing here. Like this to me is too late in the season for the bye weeks to hit.
Yep, I'm with you there. All right, Renee Diaz says, oh wait a minute, it looks like this was a two-parter. Should I start next week D-Hop or Wilson, or should I sit Gabe Davis for Wilson? My receivers are Davis, Waddle, D-Hop, and Pickens. Wilson's on my bench. Wondering who should I replace?
I think if we're talking about Garrett Wilson here and we're not talking about a flex with Jeff Wilson or something like that, like please, people, specify your Wilsons, your Williamses, your Joneses, your Pierces.
Yeah. And by the way, if you're going to put at least Wilson, put Wilson Jr. So at least we know it's Jeff Wilson. All right.
Yes, right. But I would have a difficult time, even in a dicey matchup against Buffalo. I would really have a difficult time benching Garrett Wilson right now. That guy's a technician. Like this has been plenty impressive when he's with any other quarterback than Zach Wilson. He's delivered this year, well over 100 yards this past week. He was filling out retirement papers for Patrick Peterson. I thought that guy's really good. So I would have a very difficult time sitting him. I'm going to have him ahead of Gabe Davis in the ranks. And I think people know what they're getting with Gabe Davis, right? It's either a big spike week and he finds the end zone on a long touchdown, or it's a really quiet week where you get 4 catches for like 39 yards, right? I don't think there's the same variability with Garrett Wilson, especially when Mike White is at quarterback.
All right. By the way, I can answer this. Joey, should I start Lawrence or Herbert? Lawrence got injured, bro. You're starting Herbert. Not sure.
Lawrence. It's amazing that Lawrence came back in that game. Because that did look like it was going to be a pretty nasty injury. Eventually, he gave way at the end of the game when it was a lost cause. Yeah. But hopefully, Lawrence is going to be available to play in the week ahead.
Yeah, but you don't play him over Herbert. You don't.
No, I wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't play him over Herbert. Not while we have a healthy Keenan Allen. They're kind of humming a little bit, and that's going to be a shootout of a game.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm with you there. Big D is asking Herbert or Geno Smith. Now that is a good question.
Yeah, Geno's got, whatever else you think about the Panthers this season, that defense has been pretty frisky. Like that defense is, I want to say that the Panthers defense hasn't allowed more than like 15 points in any of their last 3 games. So it could be sort of sneakily a low scoring game. So I'm going to go ahead and bench Geno there. He's been wonderful. He's been like multiple touchdowns every week. I don't have a bad thing to say about Geno. It's just an absolutely fantastic season. But I'd probably bench him here, given your alternative.
All right. What else do we have here? Are Garrett Wilson and Christian Watson must starts moving forward? I would say so, but you go ahead and
yeah,
answer.
pretty much. Again, the stupid Packers are another team that has a bye week this week. Like week 14 buys. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But Watson, like to me, some of the most impressive stuff with Watson is what you just saw this past week, where he just outraces every defender to the end zone on what looks like it should be a routine play that goes for like 10 yards. And he had the same darn thing like the week before on that pass from Jordan Love, which should have been nothing, should have gone for like 12 yards. But the guy is like freaky fast, outrageously strong, and like he's gonna find the end zone on some plays where it just doesn't seem like he should. And then he's also become the guy that Aaron Rodgers will just lob it up to and be like, screw it. Christian Watson is down there, and I'm gonna look for him. So that's been good as well. Like any given week against any given opponent, it should not be a surprise if Watson finds the end zone a couple times. And then again, Wilson has just been as good a technician as we've seen in this rookie class.
Jason Myers is asking, which defense should I pick up for the playoffs? Well, I can already tell you don't pick up Miami's, but let's continue. KC, Miami, Minnesota, Tampa, Seattle, or Carolina.
I think I would try to pick on Houston as much as possible. I would just try to pick on schedules. I don't have every team's schedule in front of me. It wouldn't be Minnesota for me. I will say that. Minnesota has been one of those weird defenses that has been very opportunistic. They've been good at taking the ball away. They give up 1,000,000 yards. And they face good teams and they can get lit up in a hurry. So it probably wouldn't be Minnesota for me. I'm a little bit interested in Carolina because they're able to muck up a whole bunch of games. And that, again, that defense has been really good lately.
Brian, I've seen your question twice. It's a silly question, my brother. He's asking, should he start Waddle or Wilson Jr.? Brother, I would start Waddle over Wilson Jr. if he was on one leg. If we amputated his leg this week, I'd still start Waddle. Okay, I mean that's not really a question. You're really that's a joke, man, right?
I need Waddle to be healthy. I got so much Jalen Waddle. This was a bloodbath of a week for me because it was a quiet one for Waddle.
Oh, he'll be back. I mean, everybody will be back next week. Tua will be on, but Waddle is a little banged up, and so and Trent has been very good as that third guy that you can really put on. He knows the offense really well. I'm just saying, if you got all these injuries, all these buys this week, you need a flex guy. I think Trent Sherfield, in a game that I think is going to be high scoring between the Dolphins and the Chargers, I think Sherfield is a good flex player this week.
This is definitely going to be his highest rank of the season. I don't know if he's going to crack the top 40 for a lot of people, but he's certainly going to be, he's going to be in kind of that wide receiver 4 range, which has just not happened all year.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, what else you got going on Yahoo so folks can check you out, my friend?
Yeah, about to record the Waiver Wire podcast on the Yahoo Fantasy Football Forecast, so check that out this week. And I'm going to have a big pickups column on Tuesday at Yahoo Fantasy.
All right, there he is. And make sure you follow him on Twitter at Andy Behrens and check out all the work there at Yahoo Fantasy. Always doing great work. And twice a week here, Andy on Mondays, Scott on Fridays, with our Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone. Andy, as always, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up next week.
Thanks, Big O. Always a pleasure.
Got it. Thank you, sir. That is Andy Behrens and our Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone.
You've been listening to the Sports Grill Fantasy Football Zone with Yahoo Sports' Andy Behrens. Go to sportsgrill.com to find a great location near you. Fantasy football fans, subscribe to the Big O Radio Show on YouTube and all other platforms to catch up with all our fantasy football insight provided by Scott Pianowski and Andy Behrens.
I got some idiot here that I need to rip, but before I do that, remember Sports Grill, $1.50 Bud Light drafts and bottles during the NFL and NCAA games. We got an NFL game tonight. Get on down there. 7 great locations. They've added the cherry lemonade and the tailgate tea. Only $5 for those cocktails during NCAA and NFL games. Domestic pitchers, $12. Bone-in wings, now 15% off. They also, the hot sauces. Oh, their sauces are so good, man. Now you can take them home. You can put the sauce on everything and anything, even on your wife. Flavors like buffalo sauce, the Miami Heat, the blackberry, the barbecue, the Dale. And today is Monday, the $7 single smash burger. Go to Sports Grill. We love it. Now, let me explain something to some of you out there. If you don't listen to the show every day, and you don't really know what I talk about every day, don't open your mouth. Because then you say stupid shit like Anthony Castro. Finally, you admit this defense isn't special. Anthony, you dumbass. Dude, if you don't listen to the show every day, I've been telling everybody now for a couple of months that this is a team that the offense will bail out the defense. This is not a team that the defense is going to bail you out from anything. They will bend, and then eventually they don't break. They make some plays, but they never bail you out. They're not that team. They'll make a play or two, but you will depend on the offense. So if you don't listen every day, dumbass, okay, you are not proving anything except you're an effing idiot because you sound stupid. Because you don't listen to the show every day. You don't watch every day. So today that they lost, you want to come on over here. And yes, I think he also said I'm the only guy that's not picking on the defense. I'm not picking on the defense. And then again, I was the only guy in the media that said Tua will be a kick-ass player. So I'm used to that, my brother. I'm the only guy that said Flo was going to get fired in the middle of a winning streak. You jackass. You got it? I'm the only guy that 4 years ago said, hire Greer and fire Tannenbaum and Gase. Let him run the organization. I'm used to that, my brother. Okay? I'm used to being ahead of the curve of most people, including your dumbass. So don't come on here thinking you know what's been said when you haven't. And I've been telling people for a while, this defense isn't special. And how can it be anyway without Byron Jones, without Nick Needham, without Brandon Jones, without your fourth corner in Trill Williams? Now you've lost a pass rusher in Ogba, so that's more depth. There's no way you weren't going to be special with those guys, but you would have been pretty good at least with that secondary to complement the front seven. The defense did enough to win the game yesterday. Tua lost the game yesterday. If you don't watch the show and listen all the time, Anthony Castro, shut the hell up. Because you don't know jack shit, dude. And you sound like an idiot. Rodney, he's been saying that. Finally, you've been saying that forever, LOL. I don't hear the show as much as I like, and even I know, says Joe. I mean, everybody that listens to the show knows, except, of course, this one idiot. You know, pay attention, man. Pay attention to the show. It's the way it is. And again, I'm not picking on the defense yesterday. They did enough to win that game. Special teams did enough. Mike McDaniel did enough. And I can pick on Mike McDaniel for a couple of things, that were kind of questionable. But having said all that, he drew up all the offensive plays. Those receivers were open. And for whatever reason, bro, Tua had one of those brain farts. And, he wasn't on. And he lost the game yesterday. All by his lonesome. You can add little elements of all the other things if you want. That's fine with me, dude. But the main ingredient on why you lost, Tua was off. And that's it. Had nothing to do with it. But you go ahead and keep thinking that, I don't say something when I've already been saying it for a while. So I don't expect the defense to be bailing you out. I expect the offense to bail you out. I've been saying this for a while now. Reprogram yourself. Haven't I repeated this over? Reprogram yourself. This is not a defense. This is not a team bailed out by its defense like it's been for 20, 25 years, that if the defense doesn't step up, we're going to lose. And that's the way it was. No. It's if the offense doesn't, if the passing game doesn't step up, you're going to lose. That's this team now. Passing game failed. You lost yesterday. Simple. Nothing more, nothing less. Why is everyone in panic mode after the first? I'm not in panic mode, Brian. In fact, I feel great about this week. And when I saw that I said this last night, go listen to the post game. I felt great about it. I was disappointed to lose, like all of you are, but I feel great about this Chargers game because I know Tua is not going to play like that again for the rest of the year. He got it out of his way. He got it out of his system. Everybody has a bad game. That's it. He had his bad game. You move on. But I'm jacked about this week. I think the Dolphins are going to win. I feel way better about it this week now because they're not facing the same kind of defense, and they burned that defense yesterday. It's just Tua screwed up, but those receivers were all open and ready to make big-time plays and more yards. Again, like I said yesterday, Tua threw for 300 yards and played like shit. There aren't a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL that when they throw for 300 yards, you say they played like shit. Usually 300 yards, that's a pretty decent game and might have made a couple mistakes and why they lost, but damn, that's a pretty good game. No, Tua played like shit. He threw for 300 yards. That's impressive. He's going to light these fools up with the Chargers. I can't wait for this game on Sunday night. I feel really good about the Dolphins this week. So there we go. What was your take on us not kicking a field goal? They're going for it on fourth down. That's Mike McDaniel. Live with it or die. Just like on the fourth down on his own, 30, 25-yard line or whatever, and he went for it. And by the way, he put it into his hands. Let me tell you something. I really love what McDaniel did yesterday. A lot of coaches give up on their players. And when they don't have it, they kind of, all right, well, then let's find other ways and let's kind of protect them and this and that, and would have gone more to a running game, really short, quick passes. No, he kept dialing it up and making him hit downfield and trying to get some plays going. And he wanted to get his quarterback back on track. And they did have that scoring drive in the second half. And you thought, okay, Tua finally figured out late third quarter when they got that touchdown. And you figure, okay, well, maybe now Tua gets it going. And sure enough, it just wasn't his day. He just didn't have it. But I give Mike McDaniel all the credit in the world because he was doing everything to reinstill that confidence and get that groove back and that rhythm back. But Tua just did not have any rhythm. And to me, I think it was all about deep down inside. He amped himself up so much for this game. He wanted this game so badly for his coach that he was just too tight and didn't end up playing well. That's it. Had nothing to do, I think, at all with the San Francisco defense whatsoever. The offensive line, by the way, kudos to those guys. Overall, they did a good job. They gave Tua all the time he needed to throw. Kid just was off, man. And that's it. It's not about panic. It's not about overreacting. It's not about the world coming to an end. It was just an aberration. I thought maybe it would only be a half, and he'd figure it out in the second half. He's a money player. Wasn't his day, man. Wasn't his day. Felt bad for him. What else do we have? M. Torres, Jason Tua will be okay. Just mad that we lost. I saw the game and there was a lot of bad calls on the refs to delay the game, and the fumble, the passing interference. Yeah, whatever. I'm not, And there were a couple of drops. Yes, Zachary, you're right. A couple of drops, but still, Tua completes the open receivers, and this game is completely different. Sicilian Sith says, I'm a Tua guy, but it isn't first time that he was off. Pittsburgh, he had off throws also. Big games when adrenaline is rocking, needs to calm down. I don't think it had anything to do with the adrenaline of the game. I think it had everything to do with doing it for his coach. That's what it had to do. Had nothing to do with the opponent. First interception was not Tua's fault, by the way, and he's still 21-5 in touchdown interception ratio. He's our QB and will be the reason why we win on Sunday. I agree. Zachary says, more I listen, the more I see that most fans aren't fans, just Tua fans. No, I think plenty of people are fans. I just think the Tua thing has been something that we've never dealt with, Zachary. We've never had a polarizing player this way, and where people just took this side where they were dying for him to fail. And so then that has fueled the part of the Dolphin Nation that did not enjoy all the negativity that was being said because it was unfair of Tua. And when you see how they treat other quarterbacks, they don't get the same kind of negativity that Tua does. They don't get criticized the same way Tua does. And so it's created this, I don't know what you want to call it, movement or whatever it is. And on top of being a Dolphin fan, you then have those people that are stout Tua believers and defenders. Some of us are guilty of it. Okay. And so while I'm a hardcore Dolphins fan for many, many, many decades already, I am a stout Tua supporter and believer. So there's just a little bit more sauce to the story right now because of the quarterback. And it happens to be the most polarizing position in all of sports, quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised if Tua throws for 400 yards next week. I guarantee you he's throwing for 400 yards this week and 4 touchdowns. Tua's first loss of the season. Name a QB who hasn't lost. That's a good one, Zach. Hey, by the way, the moron we called out, I guess, disappeared. He realized that he was an idiot, and then everybody else reminded him what kind of an idiot he is because I've been saying it the entire time about the defense. But hey, was it Castro or something? The good thing is, my brother, you realize that you're an idiot and you kept your mouth shut. And you're like, okay, you should at least apologize. But, you didn't have the balls to at least apologize and say, my bad, I don't listen a lot. I don't know. So I opened my mouth when I shouldn't, But we appreciate you checking us out there, Castro. We'll see you in a couple months with another bad take. By the way, don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button. I believe that we will bounce back versus LA, but the way Sanders has been struggling when they went to him in the 4th down, it was on the 34-yard line, so I don't have issue with them going for it. I'll tell you what, Skyler needs to become the third quarterback again. Once Teddy is healthy enough to be the number 2, Skyler needs to stay at number 3 for the rest of the year. That thought of elevating him, that was not a good suggestion by me, by the way. I don't know if anybody else had that suggestion, but I thought maybe, the performance from a little while back, it was like, okay, well then you got to put, Skyler in front of Teddy. As limited as Teddy may be, I'm taking Teddy over him right now. Skyler needs to be the third quarterback when Teddy is healthy, and Skyler should never play again this season. Okay? Are we clear on that? He clearly is not ready for these kind of moments. He's still way too green. The interception he threw was so bad. He has zero business being on an NFL field right now. Okay? He's an off-season project. You keep working with him. He's got all the skill set. But the second Teddy is healthy enough, he is definitely the number 2 quarterback. Skylar Thompson has proven that he is not ready whatsoever, and he cannot be counted on off the bench. That's all I can tell you. Still too green for all of this. How about all these PIs where the QB throws it up and underthrows the ball and it bails out the offense when both guys are fighting for the ball? That's the BS rule and needs to be changed. EJ Barro, thank you for the love on the super chat. He says 100% agree. Oh, you're indeed stout. Tua obviously did not sleep at a Holiday Inn. Love you, baby. Thank you, EJ. Yeah, if Tua would have slept at a Holiday Inn on Saturday night, he would have won on Sunday. But since he didn't, and so do we blame the Dolphins for not staying at a Holiday Inn? It's probably what we got to do, right? Whoever the travel director is for the Dolphins, correct that person. Make sure they're staying at a Holiday Inn in Los Angeles. Theme park point of view says Dolphins favored. I'll be watching live from Disneyland with the wife. LOL. After Miami whips LA Sunday night, everything comes down to the game in frigid Buffalo versus the Bills team that is not playing that great and a QB making a lot of mistakes and bad throws. Yes, sir. You are correct. This is a game, by the way, it's all about Tua redeeming himself. That's all this is all about. Tua has got to redeem himself. You haven't played like this all year. This was not a super important game because it was NFC. So I can't say it was an incredibly important game, but it was important record-wise because you could have tied with Buffalo. So now you're trailing, but even if you beat Buffalo in 2 weeks, you'll take the lead again. You'll have the tiebreaker and all that. So it's not like it's not the end of the world. But this is a game that you played like shit. It's about redeeming yourself. And he has to, he talked about how he was disappointed that they couldn't play the way that they wanted to kind of make the statement. It's up to him now. It's up to him to go out and make that statement. That's what he's got to do. Pretty simple, man. It's not that difficult. Revenge has to be yours, not against the Chargers because it has nothing to do with them. It has to do with personally. You've got to go out and get revenge to clear your name. Not that your name is muddied, but you feel it because great players feel it after any failure. And they take it hard. And I expect Tua to absorb this loss. Take it personal because he was the main ingredient on why you lost, right? You're trying to make a cake and you put in some milk and you put in the eggs, but you left the batter out. How am I going to make my cake? Trying to make some pancakes, right? You got maybe you want to use a little milk, maybe use a little vanilla extract. Where's the pancake batter? How am I going to make my pancakes? So you could talk about the PIs and you think maybe the defense didn't do enough. Maybe you think Mike McDaniel wasn't good enough. Maybe you can blame little things. But the flour was Tua. With that was the batter. So you can talk about all that other stuff. He's got to take it personal. He's got to look in the mirror and say, I failed my team. I didn't do my job. My offensive line gave me enough time to pass. Teron Armstead was not the reason why you lost. We talked about how he might be the second most important. Well, guess what? I told you that if they would win, I forgot which one of you brought it up, that you said Tyreek and Waddle were more important. And I would say, well, if they win, you're right. Tyreek and Waddle are more important because they won without Armstead. Well, they lost without Armstead, and it had nothing to do with Armstead, their loss. So maybe you're right. Maybe Tyreek and Waddle are more important than even Teron Armstead. I know Teron Armstead is super important, but he might be fourth now. But there is no more important player on this team than Uno. And he's got to take this personal. He's got to lay on the sword and say, I can't do this ever again to my teammates this season. And he needs to come through with a diamond performance this week. 5-star, diamond, gold standard, whatever adjective you want to describe the kind of performance that he needs. Blue ribbon, first place, whatever blue ribbon. You know, he's got to come up with a golden-like performance this week. He's got to justify everything that we've talked about all year. He's got to prove that the aberration was last week. So I expect a Tua that is incredibly focused, pissed off, and wanting to clear his name. And by the way, I got to tell you, the talking heads, I hope they go heavily after his ass. Because they've been wrong in the past. He will prove them wrong again. Here's to Tua. I hope you're a pissed off mofo. I hope you take this performance so personal and you go out there and light the Chargers up like an effing Christmas tree. That's what I'm expecting from Tua Tagovailoa. True Fin Fan says, I was a Tua doubter. Doubter, not hater. That's a difference. I didn't think he could be this good, but I sure as hell hope for it. Now, I'm not only a believer, but a fan of the kid. Go get him. And he will. I have all the faith in the world that he's going to go out and kick their ass this week. Like I said, Dolphins favored by 2.5. Vegas has some respect for the Dolphins on the road. Okay? You're supposed to get a field goal at home. The Dolphins are getting 2.5. That means they're a 5.5-point swing on the road. It's pretty impressive. Kudos to the 49ers organization, their PR department. They honored Jason Jenkins prior to the game. And Jason Jenkins, for those of us who had the honor, and I was one of them, of knowing Jason for, God, however long he was here. I forgot, 15, 17, 18 years. I forgot how long it was that he was here. But he was here a long time. And I got to know Jason, from his early days when he got here and was part of the PR team and worked his way all the way to the top. And you talk about, if the good Lord ever drew up what a perfect human being is, Jason Jenkins is as close to perfection as there could be as a man. I know that I could never be half the person that Jason Jenkins was, is, will always be in our hearts and in our memories. And when I saw that by the Niners yesterday, I thought that was pretty freaking awesome, dude. Pretty freaking awesome. So congratulations to the Niners organization, man. Class act. That was cool. That was really, really cool. That caught my eye yesterday. Heat, nice win against the Celtics on Friday. Tonight, by the way, they've got Memphis. The game is even. It's picking. Both money line minus 110 and the over and under is 224.5. Oh, I know I got to get something off my chest. There's some ridiculous shit going on criticizing Deion Sanders. And, you know, some of you out there criticizing Deion Sanders, you all should shut the hell up. Do you know what it's like to be a coach? You know what it's like to have a staff that you have to oversee those people and you want to do what's best for them? And I get it that Deion Sanders is doing for HBCU schools that no one else has done. Right? But in the end, how far can you really go? He's not going to be able to carry an entire conference. So what are you asking? Jackson State to grow to the point that they go join a Power 5 in 10 years? And leave the HBCU circuit? Is that what you want to do? Or should other great coaches take less money and go to HBCU schools and elevate them? You know, Deion did something for HBCU schools that no one else has done. How come people don't talk about that? How come people aren't grateful for what he brought to Jackson State? Look, I don't know how good he's going to be at Colorado or not, but God bless him, dude. It's about working your way up. And he got this opportunity. I personally would have wanted him to hold out for a better job, a bigger job than even Colorado. But again, how much longer do you want him to stay in a school where his coaches aren't getting paid and they've got to work their asses off? And he's got to look out for his people, man. And it's not Jackson State's fault. They just don't have the revenue. And they have more revenue now because of Deion. But we all want to get paid, man. We all want to get paid what we deserve. And I know that Deion's made his share of money, but he's got a whole bunch of assistant coaches that they're not making big money. Now they're all going to make good money. And isn't it about maybe possibly winning a national title and challenging in a Big Five in a Power 5 program? You're never going to do that at Jackson State. And while, yeah, you are doing some good stuff for the university itself, but you're not going to lift everybody. Unfortunately, let's be honest. And for anybody that's criticizing Deion Sanders for doing what he's earned this right to go to Colorado. He's earned this right to make more money for his coaches. He's doing the responsible thing, the smart thing. I wish him the best, man. I'm not sure if you saw it. I don't know if you saw him talking to the current players that were there, but it was pretty interesting.
We got a few positions already taken care of because I'm bringing my luggage with me. And it's Louis. Okay. It ain't gonna be no more of the mess that these wonderful fans, the student body, and some of your parents have put up with for probably 2 decades now. I'm coming. And when I get him, it's gonna be changed. So I want y'all to get ready to go ahead and jump in that portal and do whatever you're gonna get. Because the more you jump in, the more room you make. Because we bring kids that are smart, say that, smart, tough.
Hit that portal, kids. I mean, they won 1 game last year. Colorado has sucked forever. I don't blame him. I commend him and I wish him the best. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for his coaches. I don't know if Colorado is going to be a great program because of him, but at least they've got a better shot now than they ever have. And they got a guy that parents love. They watch them play. And I got to tell you something. Deion rubs me like the guy that gives a shit about the kids. Now, he wants tough kids, I'm sure. He wants kids that want to, like Mario. You can tell there's that old school approach, like, yeah, I want to coach, but I want kids that want to be coached, that want to be great. You can tell that he's got a little bit of that Mario in him, the old school stuff. That's why he told them, hey, go do your thing. You want to get in the portal, go ahead. But I find it so short-sighted. I find it selfish for anybody to be criticizing Deion Sanders for leaving Jackson State. I mean, how do you stop somebody from bettering themselves? What kind of shit is that, dude? That's not how we are in this world. That's not what good people do. That's what selfish people do. Want to bring people down, and they don't want to allow them to grow. Deion Sanders is trying to become a better coach, so he's got to go to a bigger program. And if he takes Colorado to a certain level, then who knows if Ohio State comes knocking or whatever. I'm just throwing out the real upper echelon after that. God bless him, dude. Deion Sanders is doing what he deserves. He went to Jackson State and made them a national name. They've been around forever. This kid here, when he was young, in the mid-'70s, he saw his favorite player in the history of football come out of Jackson State, and wow, Walter Payton. And I followed him for the rest of his life, got to meet him at Homestead Motor Speedway. While Marino's my favorite Dolphin of all time, my favorite football player of all time is not a Miami Dolphin. He's a Chicago Bear, and his name is Walter Payton. I couldn't admire that guy more when I was a child. I was a big fan of Walter Payton. Deion did everything he can possibly do with Jackson State. He deserves to find out if he can do better at the next level, because it's what you would want to do. It's what I would want to do. And why should any of us be selfish and stop someone else from bettering themselves? I find that to be so insulting. Jose, thank you for the love in the super chat. Big O, people are already destroying to our fan base is trash. All it took was one game for them. I don't believe that that's real. Those are just the Tua haters that are either Dolphin fans or not. And since they're so wrong, they're trying to grasp on anything that they can right now. That's all it is. I don't really think it's anything more than that, my friend. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show on Cash App or Venmo. All right. Yes, sir. Right. Okay. Checking out a little just checking out the Acorn, and we down because markets are down a little bit. All right, what else do we have? Tua was honest at the press, saying the defense was good at disguising coverages, making them look the same, then playing on different. Now all of the other teams that we're going to face, Travis, my brother, I mean, whatever, dude. You can read whatever you want. You couldn't be more wrong than anything else. He lost because he missed wide open receivers. Had nothing to do with the defense. But dude, if that's what makes you sleep at night, then go for it, bro. If that's the mental masturbation you want to deal with, and go for it. Damn, Big O, grab some honey and tea. It's honey and lime, sir, is what we do. I just was on last night. And now I'm on in the morning, and I'm on for 4 hours or 3 hours. So it's not an easy thing. Oh, by the way, I'm still waiting for the $2,000 I can still go to LA right now. If you send me the $2,000, I thought that guy was sending me the $2,000 on Friday. What would happen? I keep checking and I don't see my $2,000. Big O Cash Big O show on Cash App or Venmo. Some guy asked me, "Hey, can you cover the LA game?" And I said, "Sure." Send me $2,000. I don't know if I might be able to do it $2,000 still on a short week. I might be able to get the plane tickets and everything. I know I can get the credentials. I got no problem getting the credentials. So where's that guy from Friday? $2,000. Where are they? Come on, Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O show. You want me to do a pre and post game show from Los Angeles after Tua kicks Herbert's ass? Well, then you got to send me the cash. Colorado's not even that bad. When USC and UCLA leave the Pac-12, who knows what can happen? I just find it funny that people are criticizing Deion. I mean, the man is moving up, and we're going to diss him for bettering himself? Since when, dude? What the hell is that? And let me tell you something. Let's get a little racial here. If you're black and you're a little bothered by it, dude, I understand. Because you want what's best for the black community, and obviously an HBCU school in Jackson State, Deion is a monster positive for that program. I get it now. Now, if you're white, get the F out of here, bro. Just get lost. So your argument doesn't carry anything, okay? You're just being a jerk. At least I understand when it comes from the black community, because they care about their damn community, bro. They want what's best for their community, and obviously they know that it's important for Deion to be there, because, who else has ever done that for any kind of school like this? None. Nobody. You got to go back to Eddie Robinson, who's a legend and, stayed at Grambling forever. And Eddie Robinson could have gone to big schools and been Eddie Robinson should have been one of the best coaches. He is one of the best coaches of all time, but he will never be talked about in the Saban and what's it called? Oh God. Now I'm forgetting some of these great college coaches that we talk about all the time, and I'm brain farting, but you would never put him in that category because he coached at Grambling forever. So there's no way you're going to be there with any of the legends. Sorry. Why? Because you were at Grambling. And it's not fair to Eddie Robinson, because Eddie could have been at Auburn or Alabama or Miami or UCLA or whatever, and probably made them all powerhouses and national title contenders. And if Eddie Robinson can't do that, who else is going to do it? So to make, to expect Deion Sanders to stay there, it's just so selfish. It pisses me off how selfish it is. Quite honestly, that's my problem with it. It pisses me off how selfish it is of people to be complaining of Deion Sanders, instead of saying, damn, dude, you did what a lot of people wouldn't even think of you, that you actually made Jackson State matter on a national level. You were getting highly touted recruits to go to Jackson State with you. You were doing things that was unheard of. And now you want to go to Colorado, and I'm going to diss you? No, I'm going to encourage you and say, wow, dude, I hope you do this again. I hope you can lift Colorado up. That'll be really, really cool. Bear Bryant, yeah, stuff like that. The legends like that. Tom Osborne, there you go. Guys like that, Bobby Bowden. You'll never put Eddie Robinson in those names. Ever. And he belongs there. He belongs there. Like, it's not even a discussion. But unfortunately, he'll never get that recognition. So I'm supposed to then say to Dion, yeah, no, you can't do it either. I don't think it's right for you. That doesn't make any sense. That's not fair. Remember, Cash App or Venmo, that is Cash Big O Show. Ernesto Ulavarro sends in a little Cash App. Thank you, sir. He says, for Tua needs to manage excess expectations. Nature B. There you go. And thank you, my friend. Appreciate you as always. Thank you for giving us some love there on the Cash App. As always, remember, Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. You can always make a donation through Cash App or Venmo anytime, any hour of the day or night. We always appreciate your support. Big O, yesterday at the game, I realized that half of the fans are educated and football watchers, and the other half go to games to get drunk high and don't even know what they're watching. Sad. Oh, it is so true, Jamie. Oh, yeah, my friend. You got people that are going just to hang out, and they don't really know that much about the game, and they're kind of, and you're right, about half of them are hardcore. They're watching formations. They're looking at who's in, who's out. They actually pay attention to the game. Oh, yeah. We have a lot of people that really don't watch the games. They don't really pay attention. They just kind of, watch it in general. They ball watch or whatever. And yeah, that's just kind of the whole deal. TD just broke the news. Bill games just got flexed to Saturday night. I don't know if that's I don't know what that is. Did the Bills game get flexed to Saturday night? Did Ian Rappaport or somebody report that? I mean, it should be. It should be. I mean, that should be a night game. I don't know why that would not be flexed out.
Yeah, Marcel's got it.
Marcel's got it? Okay.
NFL has announced the Dolphins will play the Bills on Saturday, December 17th at 8:15. It's a night game at Highmark Stadium in Week 15.
Well, actually, Tom Pelissero has it. It's December 17. Indianapolis will play Minnesota at 1, Baltimore versus Cleveland at 4, and Miami and the Bills at 8:15. So he kind of broke it all. So it's really Pelissero that actually had it over everybody, and then everybody's kind of going off of Pelissero. Even Ian Rappaport said Saturday football is the best. Sunday also is great. Same with Monday and Tuesday. Oh, Lordy. So Pelissero reports that the Dolphin game, I'm not surprised it was flexed. That was coming, dude. This week the Dolphins will smoke the Chargers, and then that'll build up for next week's game, and then the Dolphins will then beat the Bills. The Dolphins are winning the next 2 weeks, right? Telling you already. Let's see. I don't really focus on formations too much during the game, but when I watch the replay, I focus on things like that. Well, especially when you're at the game and you're at a higher level, you can really, look at the formations and all that. You can notice it a lot. That's one of the things I like about being live. I don't like a lot of things about being at a live game. To do my job, that is. If I'm going as a fan, it's a fan. That's great. But if I have to do my job after, I always like the video because I can rewind, I can go over things and take some notes. I can't do that at the game. I don't have a DVR in my hand or whatever and rewinding and looking and pausing and this, that. I can't do that. So that's where being at the game is actually puts you at a deficit to do our job. To be a fan, it doesn't matter. Never been to an NFL game. I won't go until it can be a Dolphins game. Well, William, you will have one February 13th, Phoenix, Arizona. Whatever that stadium's name is, you got to go to the Dolphins in the Super Bowl. That's it, William. I mean, if you're going to go to a Dolphins game, go to the last one of the season, the Super Bowl. The Dolphins will be there. I don't know who in the NFC wants to participate, but I know who's going from the AFC, and it's the Dolphins. So I'll see you there, bro. Okay? 3 games on the road straight are pretty hard. I hate it when I saw the schedule. Who cares, man? Teams play all kinds of tough stretches in their season. You got to get through. If you're a good team, they said the same shit about the first 4 games. And if they win the next 2 weeks, you're going to look back and say, why did I overreact? So it's not a big deal. I would tell you, chill out on that. The Jets lost to the Vikings 27-22. Mike White, 369 yards. Now, he threw 2 interceptions also in the game, no touchdowns. So much different thing for him. But what really changed for Mike White was his teammates. What changed for Zach Wilson, his teammates, as they're boarding the plane. Look at what they're wearing.
Okay, Picasso. I like it. I got these.
By the way, isn't this Braxton Berrios right here? Was that Braxton Berrios? Huh, Sean? Wasn't that him? Who was that? Yeah? Okay. So he's wearing a Mike White shirt. Okay. So the team was wearing Mike White shirts. Maybe Larsa Pippen can go over and hang out and, coddle Zach and make him feel a little better. She does like young men, right? So maybe, and he likes older women. So all that MILF stuff, it's not so funny anymore, huh, Jets fans? And the Mike White experiment will continue in this direction where he had the great game. Now he had the lesser game. And then it'll just continue because that's usually what happens with these guys that, it'll probably happen to Brock Purdy. He probably had the game of his life because he came off the bench. People didn't know him that well. Now they'll get him on tape and then they'll figure him out. And over the next couple of weeks, Brock Purdy will play like shit. And guess what you're going to say to yourself? Damn, dude, that guy played the game of his life against us and everybody else he has sucked. Because that's exactly what happens in these kind of cases. It'll be fine. It'll all be fine. All right. We are out of here. Still got some stuff. By the way, one more thing. Our thoughts and prayers to the Bollettieri family. Nick Bollettieri, the incredible tennis trainer. I got to interview and meet Nick. I met Nick, but I also would interview him when we would go to do the shows at Key Biscayne. Nick always seemed to be either in the same tent as we were or the tent next to us when I was at QAM. And for a couple of years in a row, I remember interviewing Nick. I would always bring him on. He'd show, he'd have a book and all that. And he was always there to, teach the kids tennis. And obviously he has been a part of so many great tennis players' lives. And I know, listen, we don't talk a lot of tennis, but I got to meet Nick and he was a nice man to me. I can't tell you that I know him or anything like that, but he's a person that I dealt with once a year when we would go over to Key Biscayne and do that one of the great South Florida sports events, which was the Lipton or the Erickson or whatever the hell it was called over the years. But I don't think there was a more perfect sports, what's it called, event held in the perfect place in Key Biscayne. No matter if it was a little bit of a pain in the ass to drive in and park and get to the place and all that sometimes it was a little bit of a mission, but overall, once you got there, it was one of my favorite events to cover. And I know I didn't have to cover it much as years went on because there's really no interest in general talk for tennis. You know, it's never been there. It's only when hot button topics hit. It's kind of like golf. Nobody really talks a lot about golf, but if there's a hot button topic that's going on in golf, then that's what will be talked about, not necessarily the game itself. You know what I mean? It's kind of like soccer. Soccer doesn't draw shit either, man. You know, we're not there yet as a country when it comes to soccer talk. Yeah, people will watch games. We've got enough in America, but sports talk itself, talking about the game, dead. Absolutely dead. Boxing, dead. MMA, you get some. That one has some life. But anything outside of a couple of the main sports, it's really hard to create conversation. You know, it has to be some kind of a juicy topic that happened in that sport. You know, that's what gets us going. Not necessarily the sport itself. It's sad. And tennis is a phenomenal sport, man. It is so fun to watch. I enjoy it. I'm not a hardcore tennis watcher anymore, I will admit. Now I watch it, occasionally. But Nick Bollettieri, obviously a legend in tennis. So the man lived to 91. I'll take 81, bro. I'll take 81. Okay? You get to 71, you're blessed. You get to 81, you're a stud. You get to 91. Wow, man, you start getting to the 90s, you've lived a hell of a life. And Nick lived a hell of a life. Hell of a life, and meant a lot to the sport of tennis and to a lot of great players who played the game. Chris Everett had some really nice words for him also in his passing, if you check it out today. All right, we are out of here. We thank Ira Winderman, Alan Poupart, Andy Behrens. We thank Sean Stanley, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, Chad Shobe, also helping out. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, same bat channel. Have a great one.
This is the Big O Show.